Hi everybody. Um, Today I'm going to get into a little bit what I didn't finish last night. I went on really long. Uh, but also oh gosh, I hate these tabs. There we go. So today it's podcasters beware legal liability in propagating the accusation that Mitch Snow is an evil woman beating piece of shit, as Ian Carroll claimed. Uh, and that's not jumping on Ian Carroll because I've heard all sorts of stuff. And I already told Jesse Merle that be careful because this is defamation. Anything that, we don't know all of the details. I've gone through that in the past 3 podcasts. You can look at that. The last one, the first was the now infamous recording of Gary Melton calling Mitch Snow. Then apparently Gary Melton is saying, "Oh, I know he would do that," and putting that on the internet. And then he says he's going to sue because it was an illegal recording. And a lawyer on the internet says, "No, you just said that you knew he was recording, so now you can't, you just no, you don't have you can't sue him." So yeah, that was funny. So anyway, I just want to make this very, very, very clear. First off, I'm not a bot. I'm not, was this puppet box or whatever they were calling that? Who was talking about that? So I'm none of that. I am a real person. I've been working on family court reform for 20 years. So I know all, like, I'm the expert of experts walking into the door to be able to tell you what's going on in some one of these convoluted cases. And as I have pointed out in previous videos, it's not only just from Mitch's testimony and what he's saying, and then what is the wife saying, and what are, do things match up? What's the timeline here? But it's also the Cat Espinda and the other guy. It's on Rumble. One is on Rumble. One is there's a videos of that, which gives the background information. Now, granted, not everybody is an expert of what's going on in family courts. That's why you can take my word for it. And in fact, let's go on to, what is this? Okay, I don't think that'll do it. No. I'm getting a little bit better with this share stuff, I think. But still not there. So here I have my, let's just make sure I'm sharing. Yeah. So this is my activism website. I mean, these are the different cases. One of the, where I'm terribly and politically incorrect is the Prince Andrew. But here you can see the International Criminal Court. So we have filed, all of this is against the family courts. This gets into the issues with Mitch. I hope Mitch will bring the case in on this submission because I am interested in what's going on with the vets. I did do, wait, down here real quick. Where's the, this was the Aaron Eddy case. And where did that, the right to truth. This is the table of contents of all of the blogs. All of my, I mean, not all of the documents. Believe me, you would be like, oh my God. There, but believe me, already with what is out here, you have all of my blogs, all of my documents for the past 20 years. You can go through them. There's thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of pages. But this is Erin Eddy. This was the Arlington, Virginia courts. Um, Her husband was DOD and she was State Department. And oh my Lord. And then the judge in that case was Judge Newman, who is the husband of Sheila Johnson, the first black woman, uh, black female billionaire in the United States. And they have transformed Middleburg. That gets into Foxcroft, and that goes into another rabbit hole that we're not going to get into right now. So that's, let's go back. So then, as I say, then I've got the American Living Abroad Act. You can see that gets into the custody issues of Americans living abroad, and the international aspects, and me lobbying Congress on that. So we have the Ghislaine Maxwell. I keep on telling, and we'll get into this a little later in this presentation, but I keep on telling Cornelia Guest and all of the little robber baron heiresses for Foxcroft that they better be concerned about the 20-year prison sentence of Ghislaine Maxwell, and that goes for Catherine Oxenberg. Then there's the Crown Princess of Greece in New York. I mean, all of this is what I'm going to be making the point in what's going on here. If something's going on in your community and there's somebody going, hey, ooh, here's the evidence, or what's going on? This stinks and this is criminal. You have an obligation as a citizen, and not just a reporter, a podcaster, somebody paying you, but as a citizen to be informed. And if you see something, say something. I said that the other day to some police in the streets. They were stopping some guy. And I said, is everything okay here? And they're like, just move on. I'm like, no, excuse me. I have the right to ask if something is, going on. I'm not doing any harm. I'm the only one who does that in Washington. If everybody in Washington would do that, then we wouldn't be where it is. But they're just busy. Oh no, I'm the stupid one because I actually care about my country. So then there's the governor, Como. He's been expunged. Oh, his daughters, they hung him out to dry. I mean, it's bad enough. His ex-wife, bitch, Carrie Kennedy. But his daughters, that was really low, really low. Then lobbying of American Libertarian Party. Yeah, they need to know how to read. And everybody, read and answer your email. Read your emails. Lobbying for European royals. Okay, so here we get the Prince Andrew case. As I say, I think if anything makes people like jump to conclusions and despise me, the second I say I am defending Prince Andrew, I mean, yeah, I'm not even getting my foot in the door with anybody there. And that's like 95% of the people in this world. I'm like, wait a second, he was a victim of the Me Too movement, just like Harvey Weinstein. I mean, Candace got interested in that. She has, see, Candace, you better start listening to me because, as I say, I'm working on cross-border stuff. And the children with dual nationalities and your good friend, Tucker Carlson, he keeps on ignoring me about his people should not be able to have dual nationalities. Well, that's going to throw your kids under the bus, my kids my kids have already been thrown under the bus and thrown to the wolves a long time ago. But all of you, and this is not just for the dual nationals, this is for everybody. If you don't address these issues that are going on in the courts by turning a blind eye, no, I'm too busy getting the next scoop on who killed Charlie Kirk and getting likes and subscribes for my podcast. I mean, I keep on explaining, oh, yeah, yeah, to people my age and the women in Madrid. I mean, that's terrible. But the actress, model, and journalists there, my neighbors, I'm like, yeah, thanks. They know everything. I mean, they saw what was going on. If anybody knows, they know they'll be called in as witnesses. So anyway, this whole Me Too bullshit. I mean, God, that's nobody's challenging that. I mean, these ladies are out of control. January 6th, Baron Coleman, he ignored me. I mean, yeah, mothers of less children. Oh, I saw Elizabeth Warren's name just the other day. So anyway, as you see, you get an idea there. This is about the founding fathers that, I'm like patriotic housewife and patriotic dad are kind of exemplary of exactly what's going on out there and what I'm challenging. Uh, FACO, Federation of American Women's Clubs Overseas, FIAF, the Federation Internationale des Écailles of the French. Yeah, I got involved in all of these expat wives clubs and managing them as the board and then as the president of Book It That Guy. So anyway, that's a whole other can of worms. Yes, so here you got all of these stuff that you can look through. Then we also have my, now if you try and go on to my War on Domestic Terror, oh God, it popped in it for me. First, it'll bring you into something not secure or whatever. That's because, believe me, there's no problem. I'm not going to do anything. And that's, I mean, Google, I paid him $1,000, 200, 300 here. And they kept on saying they fixed this. I said, no, you haven't fixed anything. Give me back my money. No, fuck you. I, I, I mean, there is absolute, people have no rights whatsoever. Consumers, laborers, parents, citizens, and the lawyers are laughing all the way to the bank. So this was original, and this got hacked into, and that's why they had to fix this stuff. So anyway, you can go in here. This is basically, and this is the stuff that's been submitted to the International Criminal Court on crimes against humanity. This goes in, I mean, this is not a very good website, so I had to set it up here. I just came inventive. So you've got all these reports at the top. Really at the top, there's the reports, some of my old blogs, reports. Then you get into you have a video library. I kind of use those as placeholders, but you also have videos, all of these different pages. You have videos on there. This one comes and goes. I'm not sure why. So I guess I need to kind of clean this thing up. I just never have time. So these are all of the different letters. And when I was recorriendo domestic remedies, exhausting domestic remedies in my case in Spain, that, as you can see, I keep on going back to the White House, the State Department, the American Embassy in Spain, the Bar Association, the Defensor del Pueblo, my favorite in all. The Bar Association of Madrid claims it is the right of lawyers to violate the rights of their clients under the principle of judicial independence. I mean, they have hired such idiots in government agencies around the world, and embassies included, that they are coming up with the most, and the few have had the fortitude to go the good fight and get in the trenches and dig those trenches and get all of the documents that we need, and not give up like Mitch Snow. So, I hope. And then this was submission to the UN Women down here. These are the X files. These are the different people that have come to me with the cases. Schlesinger, she was Austria, but she's British, and that did get into the House of Commons discussion. Well, I never went anywhere. So Ryan, I forget Sims, I forget where she was. Ryan, that's Japan. That wasn't a custody issue. That was an intellectual property theft of his businesses. So all of you men who's like, well, what do I care about? Custody battles. Well, this gets into commerce as well. They tried to kill him. They stole his intellectual property. I mean, it got, and then they went after his son. Oh, horrible stuff that was done to his son. Look, you can see the videos on there. I mean, and it's a special needs child. And so they were like doing experiments. I mean, this is Auschwitz type of shit. Doing experiments of like not giving him any like calories because he's being fed by tubes and stuff, but not, and seeing what that would do to the body. And I mean, it was just, I mean, just horrible. Mike Flynn knows about this case, and Jim Ryan, the father, thinks that it was because Mike Flynn knew about the case, was horrified, was going to do something, that they took him out. I think it's a little bit more complicated than that. But so anyway, that was the 2016 spring meetings, and that's kind of where this, but yeah, and then I have correspondence, reports. As I say, you can go in there and check it out. I do have this is an old Global Expats business plan. I haven't updated that in years, but it's basically the same. I mean, it hasn't changed. So anyway, that's what I'm saying. Can't say you don't know. I've laid out all of the evidence. I've organized it in a very, and this is one of my big beefs in Washington. We need more Patsy Geyer. She was the executive assistant for the senator that I worked for back in the 80s. And she taught me how to build an organizational system, a filing system, administrative system for an office. My mother was chaos, completely creating chaos. I remember, I think part of the reasons I stayed working for the senator for all the years I was in college was because she was like the only stable person or thing around me. So anyway, we'll go to the next slide. I love these little things that move around. I had to take most of them off because it just is getting too heavy. I have no memory on this thing. So, but I did leave as tribute to Candace because she hasn't listened to any of my stuff on feminism and my research on that, but chapeau for what she's been doing in her investigation into the Charlie Kirk assassination. And I mean, it's ludicrous. It really has become a soap opera with all of the podcasters. And I mean, I started this because it does get into freedom of speech issues just at the very beginning when Charlie was assassinated. And it was Arnold Schwarzenegger who was speaking at the time, and he said, yeah, well, it's really the ones who are radicalizing everyone are the journalists and the podcasters, everybody who's in communication, the social media influencers, anybody who is in that arena. And I agree, a lot of it's coming from there, but it's also coming from the homes, the communities, everybody's way of life. I remember just the other day, somebody was asking me about the Kennedy curse, like if I really thought they had a curse. I was like, Are you kidding? Well, yeah, if you want to call it a curse, but it's just a consequence of how they live their lives. I mean, this is really why I left the United States. Now, the Kennedys didn't invent a dysfunctional family. And believe me, the robber baron heiresses, who they, their role models and who they wanted to become and emulated, um, were not much better. But I have to say, and this is Starkey Farmer, she was like, "Oh Lord, no!" And the Catholics, I can't vote for a Catholic. This will get we'll be getting into some of the well, it gets into the spiritual and the occult, and that's kind of like what I like with Starkey Farmer. She does bring that all together, and she is extremely knowledgeable. It's very long to listen to her podcast, but she is very knowledgeable and very interesting perspectives from that. How shall I say arena? So anyway, that we'll be getting into. But what I wanted to go into today, particularly, is this, as I say again, the legal liability of all of you podcasters who keep on calling Mitch Snow, you know, violent, horrible, vicious, wife beater, piece of shit, whatever, on and on and on. This man has been a victim. Now, he was a vet. And so this is also Valhalla, this, what is this, the what do they call it, the glory or something, these people who are claiming that they served in the military and that they didn't. And I understand, Valhalla getting upset about that. And, that's how he rose, that's his thing, and that's how he rose to power. But you have to look at other arenas. I mean, if you want to speak for the vets, you guys, you're no different than like a patriotic housewife or the Federation of American Women's Clubs overseas, or all of the socialites that I know. My neighbors in Madrid, we don't want to get involved in any unpleasantness. We're afraid that somebody might, get angry and slap a lawsuit on us. So, you have the information that what Mitch Snow has happened to Mitch Snow, what he is saying, that he is truthful. Now, was I there when Mitch Snow fell and broke his back and his legs and his arms and his everything? No, I was not there. But there is enough evidence. For example, well, he was at 90, 100%, military, what the medical leave. I think he was at 90% disabled, was getting 100% or something. Fine. Okay. But that establishes, yeah, this guy was seriously injured. So, well, yeah, that would make sense. You see what I'm saying there? And you start connecting the dots. If you actually would listen to people when they speak. I mean, this has been my beef my entire life. Everybody's always so cackling hens, trying to tell everybody their opinion or what they want or something, that they're not listening or paying any attention to what goes on around them. So here's all as I say, I showed the evidence before. I'll go quickly through here. That's this one that I wanted to do. This one I wanted to do. That's for this one as well. Okay, here we are. So I did last time, the conversation between Gary Melton calling Mitch Snow, and I went, the whole thing with my comments in there. Then it was Gary Melton's character exposed in conversations with Mitch Snow. Excuse me, I guess I need to change that. That's not with Mitch Snow, but in his podcasts. And here are his different podcasts. And as I say, this is from the previous. Then we went into, this is where I did go into this. For example, Patriotic Housewife. She did a thing of an interview with Ryan Matta about his film Never in America. This gets into the CPS trafficking. Horrible. They're taking children. I mean, horrible, horrible. Um, all of this stuff. We do have, for example, I Care a Lot is one of the films that has been submitted as evidence of what's going on in the court systems to the International Criminal Court. But then as well, Patriotic Housewife. Well, she lives in West Palm Beach. West Palm Beach is where all of this happened. So, I'm just like, well, West Palm Beach and East Palm Beach. I don't care if you come from West Palm Beach or, Cornelia is in Dallas. She's not in Palm Beach. But I think Lady Hervé, I'm sure she was there. She's always running around those things. So I'm sure she finagled her an invite there. So you can look at her Instagram. So I'm sure. But anyway, I don't care which side of the tracks you are, all you ladies, you need to start paying attention about what's going on in your communities. We got pedophiles running all over the place, rapists running all over the place. The most, like, the most gentlemen, the biggest gentlemen are those who have been in prison. It's the prison guy, Spanian, he says that. Like, it's one thing doing these crimes, and it's another thing screwing with kids. I mean, sexual child molesters, they do not do well in prison. You can do anything else, and yeah, okay, more or less, you depending on how conflictual you are, you might make it through. But child molesters, I'm like, the only men in our society who care that our children are being molested are the ones who are in prison. What's wrong with this picture? So that went into all of that. And then this is what I'm actually, we'll see if I get into this today, because I really didn't get into this at length. Here's that Jimmy Wish for Life, a link to that case. So let's go back to, oh gosh, I hope you were seeing, oh shoot, you weren't seeing my slides. I'm getting better at this, but I'm still not very good. Okay, so basically that's a recap of, you can look at the slides later. I'm not going to go through that, but that's a recap of what I went through last time. Okay, so now we got to go back to the internet. So now we're going to go into, because when Candace Owens, she did a live on X, and Ian Carroll gets into it, they call him Ian. It's like, what is Ian Carroll? Candace Owens' babysitter or something like that. I don't know what's going on there. Lady in waiting, I guess we'll call Ian Carroll. So you're the lady in waiting. See, this is like the old, you guys are playing the same thing as the feudal systems with the knights and the ladies in waiting and all of that stuff. Yeah, all the military guys are the knights. The madmen of Wall Street have just been, that's what's in competition. It's all about resources, all about resources. So yeah, the madmen of Wall Street are the feudal lords, and then you got the knights who are vying for power and land and trying to take it all. So anyway, we're going to go into Ian Carroll's analysis of, like, come on, you guys, what's going on and why. My beef here is not that they're having this discussion. If they were a bunch of, housewives at a country club who weren't getting paid to do this, resources weren't being used and put into the hands of these people, and they're getting very wealthy. I mean, I'm like fit to be tied about not letting Mitch Snow touch any of this money that apparently Candace has raised for him. Now, Candace, I want to stop with the charity and the charity, and Mitch shouldn't be in this situation. This should be, the vets who should be going up against the VA and the government and advocating up on Capitol Hill with me and going, we're not taking this shit anymore. Not storming the Capitol with guns. I said, come on, follow us. Let's get some rolling pins. And you follow these little ladies with their rolling pins and say, we are not going to be ignored, but we're not going to take your shit. If Congress is going to work, that's what has to be done. So let's get into
it. Oh boy, do we have some drama in the kingdom? We have a show today. Everyone is losing their minds.
The kingdom is right.
Collectively, if you've been following anything that's been happening on X,
conspiracy theories are entering a dangerous...
Information is the oxygen of a democracy.
There's so much evidence out there that even if less than 1% is true, that would be enough to collapse the current paradigm and change the whole planet.
Change the whole planet.
X has been a total meltdown, a total shit show. The YouTube Spaces has been this crazy back and forth. It's all centering around Candace Owens and her reporting, and then people going after her, and then Mitch Snow and the reporting.
This all reminds me of Who Shot JR and back in the 70s.
There, and I've been largely staying out of it as much as possible. Okay, as much as possible. So we're going to get into all of that today, and we're going to use that conversation and that drama to demo my new tool a little bit. And we're probably going to go for quite...
Yes, and this is also why I wanted to include this video, because I highly recommend this tool. I'd like to get access to it. But also Ian Carroll's app, the shopping app, because it gives you, information about like who is the provider. Is it a corporation or is it a business? And if you go in and to the store, and I don't know exactly how it works, but it'll tell you all of these products. And that is so much more. This whole get out and vote, they've been using that to manipulate people. The elections are a shit show because of that. They do all of this manipulation. Once again, it's waste of resources doing that. So people, and what they want is to manipulate, keep the people addicted to shopping and compliant. So, if you really want to stand up to the federal government and the evil corporations, use it with your pocketbook.
Quite a while here. Honestly, I mean, it's been Christmas. We've been busy. I've been gone. I've been fucking coding. Vibe coding, to be clear. I've been vibing hard. I'm literally addicted to vibe coding. And so I've just been fucking in here just like for days, all day, all night. I haven't slept. I haven't changed. I haven't showered. I haven't shaved. I haven't eaten. I'm kidding, obviously. And I've been nerding out. And the tool is amazing. And we're going to use it today. And I'm still working on it. But it's amazing. But yeah, we're gonna watch. So if you don't know, I'll just fill you in on the background while people get in here. Candace Owens is on break right now. And right before the break, she had a pretty heater week where she dropped this interview with Mitch Snow, and then she dropped a whole bunch more episodes of just kind of rapid fire receipts and like claims and stuff that she's been holding on to. And it was a big week for Candace, her last week here. And then she went on break for Christmas break. Bunch of stuff started happening behind the scenes. I got caught up in some of the behind the scenes mud that we'll comment on. We'll explain a little bit of what happened in this Twitter space last night. And Coach Colin, wise as he is, he made this prediction. He was like, I think that we're all getting Candace withdrawals, and I think even Candace is getting Candace withdrawals. I think Candace isn't going to be able to get through this whole 2 weeks off without doing a live stream. And lo and behold, the very next day, Candace Owens is like, we're hosting a live space tonight on X. We're going to address all this stuff. And a bunch of shit happened. And rather than go and watch the X space video, because it was a video space, rather than go watch the original video space, we're going to watch Coach's replay of the space. We're going to watch the Coach Colin replay because Coach Colin is just hilarious. He's a good time. He already clipped out some of the segments, and it's going to give us the opportunity to talk about clipping. But for this part, we're going to calm the fuck down, okay? We're just going to calm down because everyone is freaking the fuck out, and we could all really just use a chill pill. We could really use a chill pill. It'd be great if we could all stop taking things so damn personally and getting so defensive and attacking each other and over extrapolating on things that people aren't saying, on misrepresenting people, on straw manning people, on, you know, dying on your hill or pretending that other people's perspective doesn't make sense when it obviously does. Okay. We're going to calm down. Just calm down.
Yeah, so this is one of the, like, the podcasters is an outgrowth of the fiasco of mainstream media, and that being in the hands of the corporations. We don't need to go into that. I think everybody knows all of those issues. So this is an outgrowth, and this is, you know, relatively new. So there's a lot of issues, and in fact, I'll be getting into that. Patriotic Dad comes in a podcast with Gary Melton, which doesn't go well for either of them in my analysis, but again, that's upcoming. So anyway, we saw that with them, and this so we'll get back here, but God, you people.
Okay. And we're gonna watch a Coach Colin video because Coach is always chill. Coach Colin's always got his level-headed thinking hat on. You know Coach Colin. If you don't know Coach Colin, you're about to know Coach Colin, homie. Say what up to Coach. If you don't already, drop him a follow. Drop him a huge follow and a like. Coach is the man. And he's always bringing the level head. He's always just calm.
He is.
And just telling it like it is. Okay?
Well.
And dropping some funny jokes along the way. And in this, the nice thing about this episode, it's long. We'll go at 1.25 or something. We're going to have a long stream today, folks. We're going to hang out. But in this episode, Coach Colin is going to break down what happened on the space with Candace Owens and the various other speakers that were in there, what's been going on behind the scenes. He'll comment on a bunch of the other associated topics. So he's going to do a good job of kind of prompting our conversation to wind through a lot of these other pieces of the conversation. And there's a bunch of context that I'm going to give about what I said in the space, what other people were saying about the space. I've been purposely trying to stay the fuck out of this conversation about Fort Huachuca because I just don't know I don't know Mitch, and I don't know the evidence that Candace has seen. I know some of what she's seen, but like I don't know the story. She's on it and she's figuring it out, and she'll do the investigation her way and she'll do it, and that's fine. And I don't need to like police her about whether she's in it or not.
The issue that I had with Candace with the live that she did on X was that she was like, well, you know, I don't care about Mitch. I mean, as she said, it's not that I don't care about Mitch, but that's not my concern, this divorce of Mitch. And I get that. However, what the fundamental issue here is assuring due process in the courts. I mean, that is the basis of this. That, everybody who thinks Tyler Robinson killed Charlie Kirk and he was the only one involved, or not, even if, let's say, he's the one who killed him, was the one who pulled the trigger of the shot who killed Charlie Kirk, because in a murder investigation, that is the murderer. Everybody else is accessories, but the one who pulled the shot this is something that Bobby Kennedy fought for a long time, about his father's death. So, whoever pulled the trigger, and that's what we have to address, is due process. And everything else, this is what I'm going to be getting into, everything else is a bunch of cackling hens discussing, what happened to Chicken Little.
I don't need to solve it for her. I'm working on my own angles on the story. I have learned from watching how Candace has handled it. I've learned from watching Candace handle all kinds of things. But I'm inevitably, anytime that Candace Owens is doing something, I inevitably become like a conduit of people trying to get to Candace Owens. And it's like, that's not how you get a hold of Candace Owens. Sorry. It doesn't work that way. So Coach is going to break it down for us. And once again, I want to remind you all that I am obviously not the arbiter of truth. I'm not the arbiter of justice. I'm not the arbiter of what you should believe or anything like that. So I'm just going to share my opinions and what I know and what information I have behind the scenes.
Yeah.
And what.
Well, this cracks me up. I'm like, come on, you guys, this is like so high school. And this is precisely what we got to, you claim to be professionals, but you're not. No, behind the scenes, they've created this information, this closed information network, where, because you'll go and a lot of them will re-repeat, they'll add a little bit here, they'll add a little bit there, but then they're all too busy. They're too busy to read their emails or get back any feedback. They're not listening to the other podcasters, so they're missing out with information. This is where particularly this app that Ian is putting together will be extremely helpful, and people can go in and fact check what they're saying.
What I think of people, and what questions I have. And hopefully I'll share a perspective with you that will remind us all to chill the fuck out and just think for yourself, and don't fucking stress it, dude. Don't take it so personally. Don't worry about it. It's going to be fine.
Wow.
Because, oh Lord,
I'm not so sure.
It'd be crazy out here. So,
we're on a Titanic, people.
Let's talk about Fort Huachuca and Candace Owens and all the wild developments that have happened and all of the piling on and smears and slander and attacks and I didn't mean to say Hasbro. I mean to say like not even propaganda, like psyops that are floating in the space.
Yes.
We'll
be getting into this. Patriotic Dad has done some work on that.
Let's unpack some of this shit.
Whoop, whoop.
Whoop, whoop. What up, Coach?
Let's get into it, ladies and gentlemen. For those of you that don't know, like I said, didn't I call it? I didn't even think of this. I said, I think Candace is going through her own Candace withdrawals. It's not just us that are like, oh, when's she going live again? It's not just us. Because she's not coming back until next year, guys. So into early January, that's when we're going to see an episode from her.
Yeah.
But she was getting her own withdrawals, and there was so much stuff popping off that she just had to go live. But you didn't miss it. Well, you did, but it wasn't on YouTube. It was actually on X. Okay, so she went live on X, just talking about.
I was like in a business meeting, unrelated, just like doing my thing with some other homies, talking things through, and I start my phone just starts blowing up with text messages like, Ian, Candace Owens is in the space. Candace Owens is asking for you to join the space. Candace Owens is wondering if you're in the space, bro. You're gonna be in the space, bro. I'm like, dude, okay, fine, chill. I'll be there. I was like, guys, I gotta go. And like rolled into the space halfway through and I was like, and I'd been literally vibe coding all day long, just like on 4 screens, like so my brain is already like total mush. And I like get into the space. I'm like, what's going on? Like, what is happening, guys? Everyone's yelling at each other, and you're all my friends. Everyone just calm down. But it was a good time.
We had about Fort Huachuca, giving a whole breakdown of where she stands on everything. Mitch, Fort Huachuca, why it's important, all these different things. Had a bunch of different people in who spoke a little bit here and there, but I have it all for you. Don't worry about it. I have it for you. I'm going to give you
Coach
all
Collins
the breakdown. It was an hour and a half. I'm bringing you all the best parts. We're going to start off with why it's so important. She breaks down why she thinks it's so important. There's another journalist in there named Sam. He breaks down why he thinks it's so important as well. Then we're going to go through alibis, where she just talks about the alibis of Brian Harpole, Erica Kirk, or lack thereof, why they're going to Balak's Tones with their stuff, Gary from Paramount Tactical, why aren't they coming to her? There's a whole bunch there. Then we get into Mitch a little bit. Now,
every time I watch Coach Colin, I'm always wondering, like, should I be like not saying names like Alex Jones? Should I not be saying Israel? Because I feel like I'm doing fine. Like, I don't think I'm getting any weird censorship or any weird pushback from the platform.
I think it's just
and like I don't think that's going to save you, bro. But it's kind of funny.
Mitch, she's going to be talking about what she verified and basically talking about how she doesn't particularly care about his past. She's not focused on that. She's focused on Fort Huachuca. Did he see who he said that he saw? That's basically it. She's making that very clear, but I have a few clips on that, a few clips on the alibi. Then, guys, this is very weird. Valhalla and Gary from Paramount Tactical. Now, we're going to listen to this together, okay? But
I have some details on this stuff. I'll clarify it when we get there. I got a lot to clarify on that stuff. I was involved in some of it, and a lot of it I wasn't involved in, but I kind of know about it. And then some of it I think is getting confused between multiple things.
She's saying that either they're both on recording or one of them is on recording. And man, do I hope it's Gary.
I'm pretty sure it's all Gary. I'm not 100% sure, but I'm pretty sure that it's all Gary that's in those phone calls that he's referring to that we'll get to later. I think we'll probably find out. I think Candace will probably post them at some point.
Do I hope it's Gary? I hope that it's Gary. I'm just saying, but she's saying that Mitch recorded a conversation that he had or conversations he had with either Valhalla or Gary Paramount Tactical. And this apparently was a very positive conversation where they were being very nice to him. That's very interesting. Then,
I think that Candace sometimes confuses Paramount and Valhalla because she doesn't know them or interact with them. And it's not really her game. I don't know. So I think there's been some miscommunication about who's doing what.
Ian talks a little bit about Valhalla as well because Candace, she brings up Valhalla VFT. So I know Valhalla, bro. I know you wanted to make one video. He said this is one and done, but you might want to make another video just checking this whole thing out.
I'm pretty sure Nate's going live tonight.
And then we're going to end
He's
it off.
He's going to have to comment on it.
I think it was Andrew. And you'll understand what that means when we get to it because there's someone in this chat who got a very credible piece of information about Charlie Kirk and what happened to him 2 weeks before it happened. And he's questioned on who actually told him about that piece of information. But we'll get to that. But let's start.
And there's new developments on who told Harrison Smith stuff today, as of like an hour or two ago. It happened live while he was on InfoWars today. There's new developments about his source that said that Charlie was afraid that Israel would kill him. Yeah. And all of this is not to mention that Barron's been dropping bombs for a whole week now. Barron had 30,000 live viewers on his stream like 3 days ago or whatever it was. What was it? Last Friday? Was it on Sunday? It was crazy. Barron is killing the game. And he's doing great reporting too. It's no
killing the game. I mean, it's all subscribe. In the meantime, the courts are in a mess. Our economy is shit. I mean, if you all want to just sit there and preach from a pulpit, you're no better than this whole secular stuff is no better than the religious stuff that you were supposed to fix.
No surprise that he's got so many viewers.
Start out right at the top with why it's so important. There it is, Candace dressed like Sherlock Holmes. I mean, I gotta say it. You know, Sherlock Owens in the house, ladies and gentlemen, here to solve the case. All right, let's start it off.
Yourself and jump in. That would be great.
Yeah, thanks for having me. I guess my whole thing is, why does this meeting even matter? Like, what is the actual claim that's being made here? That's been my confusion the whole time is like, okay, let's say that there's absolute proof, photographic evidence that everything.
So this is Harrison Smith speaking. Good friends with Harrison Smith. I love him a lot. He works at InfoWars as a reporter. We'll listen to some of his comments here. I'll have a little bit to add. They got very heated. Everyone's piling on to Harrison, and Harrison's like firing back, and it's a whole thing. A whole bunch of drama.
Mitch says is true. Like, who cares? I mean, what does that prove? What is the actual accusation? Who do you think was conspiring with who to do what?
Yeah.
And I think it, obviously the name of the episode was, the day before Charlie Kirk was murdered. The insinuation is that this was a assassination planning meeting, which I don't even see any evidence of that. And then people I'm arguing with online are saying, no, this has nothing to do with the assassination.
Yeah.
So, I guess, if the space is why this matters, why does Fort to Huacachuca even matter? Like, what?
Before Colin gets into it, I'm just going to offer an analogy here. I respectfully disagree with Harrison on this point, but I want to remind us all that when you're talking to other people, friends even, or colleagues in good faith, and they're there in good faith, you don't have to personally attack people. And I'm not accusing Candace or Harrison of doing that. I'm just saying that, like, you can respectfully disagree and offer your arguments. And if you still don't agree on the arguments, that's fine. That's totally fine. The way that I see it is, and I like to take things out.
These are lessons that mothers should have taught their children long, long ago. And this is one of the big problems that the feminist movement has created in all of this crap.
Out of context into a different context that's very similar. So you can remove some of the emotion. And maybe you're calling it a straw man. That's fair if you want to call it that. But here's an analogy. If you're investigating a murder in this house and there's a husband and wife and it's all a little sketchy and you don't exactly know what happened, and then you're doing your due diligence, so you go to the neighbor's house. And in the neighbor's house, you sit down to ask them questions and they start acting really fucking weird. And the wife neighbor is like, oh, like, I don't even know what happened. I mean, I was busy the entire time. I actually was over at this other place and I couldn't have been there because I have an alibi and all, like, I'm making up a story here, but like, if they start acting really weird around their conversation about what happened at the neighbor's house with the murder, then you would just be curious, right? You'd be curious and you might want to investigate that. And that wouldn't mean that that they did anything. It would just mean that that's sort of suspicious and I should look into it. And it would become an open thread in your mind as an investigator. And maybe it leads nowhere, but you still investigate it. Another scenario that's maybe a little closer to what we're talking about here. You go to the neighbor's house for information, and the neighbors say that actually they know the mailman that works the route, and he's kind of weird, but the real weird thing is that the wife works next to this military base, and the wife actually saw their mailman going into the military base the day before this murder happened. And she didn't know what it meant, but it was just weird. She just thought it was weird. And he's a weird guy. And she just thought that she would mention it. And so you'd be like, that is a little weird. Maybe I should just go talk to the mailman and see what's up with that. Because mailmen don't normally go to military bases. And so then you go to talk to the mailman. And then the mailman gets kind of evasive and kind of offers some weird alibi stuff. And like, you would just be kind of suspicious of the mailman suddenly. Right? And that doesn't mean, so then the implication of that is that, well, if the mailman was on a military base the day before the murder, then you must be assuming that the mailman, it's like, that's maybe the primary suspicion, but I don't know that, right? I don't know that for sure. All I know, and this is how Candace has more or less phrased this argument as far as I can hear it, but you're free to disagree, is that you don't know for sure that that's what that means, but you want to investigate it. And all you can say is that you have a witness that put him there, and you can only trust that witness as far as you can trust her, but she is the neighbor, so she does have, like, she can prove that she knows the mailman. She can prove the relevancy of these things, And then so you go to the army base and you actually get confirmation that the mailman was there from multiple different angles. And you're like, well, that's really fucking weird. All right, mailman, like, I mean, the more accurate is that, like, is not necessarily that you can prove that the mailman was there, but that you can prove that the neighbor works there, and you can prove that there was a weird meeting there, and you don't know if the mailman was there, but you're like, okay, this is getting a little weird. And you still don't know for sure that that has anything to do with the murder. It's just suspicious timing, okay? It's suspicious timing. And so you just inherently, that's an open thread in your mind. But then if, like, every mailman in the town starts putting up a big propaganda campaign of, like, don't look into mailmen. Mailmen are always innocent. You're an evil person for looking into this mailman. You know what I'm saying? You know what I'm saying? Then you're like, wait, what are all the mailmen doing? This is weird. This is super weird. We're like, are all the mailmen in on this? I'm very confused, right? And so it would pique your investigative curiosity. And I jumped in this space when Candace and Harrison were kind of going back and forth because they don't know each other. And it's always easier to kind of get heated with someone that you don't know, that is just like an anonymous voice on the internet, especially when you're being critical of each other's ideas. And I jumped in knowing both of them quite well, actually, to try to, like, offer a little bit of an olive branch between them to remind everyone that, like they're both very smart people in very different ways. But Candace's career is all about chasing current ongoing investigations in the way that she does. And Harrison does a lot of ongoing speculation about the world, and he thinks very, very critically about the world, and he's very much a free thinker. But his job every day is to report the news as it's being reported. And those are just inherently different frames of referencing to data and information and different ways of talking in front of the camera. So I was like, maybe there's a little bit of a disconnect in how you guys each go about investigations, because Harrison is always reporting based on what reporting has come out about the mailman. And Candace is the one that's, like, going to chase down the mailman and being like, what the fuck were you doing at this base, mailman? Right? So that's kind of the way that I feel about the suspicion of it. And personally, I don't fucking trust Mitch. I'll just say it. I don't trust Mitch. I haven't trusted Mitch since the beginning. And if you guys have noticed, I haven't talked about this story.
Why does he not trust Mitch? And what is he basing that on? He is saying this on the internet. He does have an influence with his little circle of cackling hens. So he is influencing the opinions of everybody about Mitch with no evidence. He's making everybody is so concerned, false allegation, I'm just alleging, but everybody is just, no. Mitch is listen.
At all. I've purposely avoided this story because I just don't trust Mitch. I trust Candace's ability to vet things, and I know her team's ability to vet things is greater than my own in almost every instance that I've ever had.
Yeah, well, I can promise you mine is greater than all of yours put together.
So in knowing some of what Candace had about,
with no help whatsoever, I can assure you, everybody's canceled me for everything that I've been doing.
Proving that Mitch was actually where he said he was, I always knew that there was more to it than a lot of the detractors had to say. But I still don't trust Mitch. And I didn't trust him before people brought up a bunch of old criminal history of his, and maybe more recent. And then
old criminal history of his and more recent. That is defamatory and prejudicial towards Mitch and towards this whole thing. I'm calling Ann Carroll out on that. And I do want, Mitch's good name to be restored. Unless you all have some concrete evidence of what you're saying, do not make these statements against Mitch.
People brought up criminal history or possibly lying of the women that are accusing him, and it's all becoming Jerry Springer.
No, I have presented all of the evidence. Thank you very well. Thank you very much. This is not Jerry Springer. And quite frankly, everybody's fascination with Jerry Springer, I was like, when I came back to the States and saw that, I was like, what is this bullshit? Which
is why I was avoiding it. It's becoming Maury, right? And that doesn't mean it's not important. It doesn't mean it might not lead to something. It doesn't mean it's true. I don't fucking know. But I'm glad someone is out there looking into it, because someone should look into it.
Oh, someone should
It's an
look
open
into
lead.
it. Somebody should look
And
into
later,
it. Why? So we can sit around and have tea or brandy or whatever, whiskey, whatever your your drink is, and discuss. No, this is why Americans are so pissed off. This is why Trump rose to power with a promise to drain the swamp. And he's been taking y'all for a ride.
later on, I'm sure I'll give more context of the actual pieces of evidence and the timing of when Candace got them and the timing of Mitch Snow getting those pieces of evidence relative to the episode and the story in this moment. Because actually, when you know where the evidence came from, what timing the evidence came from, you realize that, like, this would be the most advanced con in the history of cons if this was just a con. Like, it would be kind of unbelievable.
Yeah, people need to realize, I mean, they don't want to look at real evidence of conspiracies and things like that. Then they'll come up with something like this. Like, no, this is a con. Mitch is conning everybody. Where is the con? Where is the con? That's the first thing. If you're accusing anybody of being a con artist, you're like, wait a second, where's my con?
It would almost be a more interesting story if it was a con, because then it's the biggest coincidence in the entire fucking world. Because the metadata of the evidence that Mitch has that he was at that base at that time, that metadata was produced before Charlie was killed. So that would be weird.
Yeah.
But we're getting ahead of ourselves. We'll get to that when we get to it.
What is the claim being made? I still don't even understand that.
So it matters because why would Brian Harpole be on Fort Huachuca at all? Right? It matters because he's giving an alibi, which means he doesn't want to be associated. Like, it could have easily not mattered. Kind of, to speak to your credit, he could have been like, yeah, I was at Fort Huachuca with my brother. And my brother's in the military. I was dropping off some food. Okay. Like, that could have been then suddenly a dead end. That would have been nothing. Now, because Mitch had described this as a top.
Or he could have just gotten in touch with Candace and been like, I wasn't there. And I'll share whatever you want, but I wasn't there. And if you pursue this story anymore, I'll sue you. Here's a cease and desist. He could have done that. Because a cease and desist is the first step of a lawsuit, as Candace points out here.
Secret meeting in an off-site building, and had described this as top brass at the Pentagon, and said that these sorts of meetings, and I am forgetting the military term, are when you're just about to embark on like a mission. I know I'm really uneducated, but military guys will sound better saying that. It was compelling. Like, okay, like I said, Brian Harpole was acting funny. He's been acting weird. He's been telling verifiable lies.
Stacey the legend.
And he cared enough to present an alibi, meaning he didn't want people to think he was there. Right. So if you have to give someone an alibi, it's because you don't want people to think that you're there.
So again, that would be like the mailman saying, like, I was with my cousin on that day. I couldn't have been at that military base. And then you go look for a cousin and you don't really find a cousin, and he like offers you a message to a guy that says cousin, and you're like, yeah, okay, but like, that's a little flimsy. It would be kind of like that. I mean, and I know when you draw parallels, it's kind of a straw man, but I'm just saying, it's like, it's a little weird that the alibis that are offered are not very concrete, and there's no cease and desist being sent, but there's all these backhanded tactics being done behind the scenes. Is all very strange. It's very strange. It's piqued my interest far more. At first, I was like, whatever. Candace is going to run this story down. I'm just going to ignore it and keep doing what I'm doing, and we'll see what happens. And as the blowback over this story has built, I've gotten way more curious about it, as she's saying. And I think a lot of people probably have. Because it's like, what's going on?
Yeah.
An alibi is not needed if there's nothing to hide. So that's why it matters. I think that's why it matters. And this reaction, rather than being forthcoming, is why it suddenly feels like, okay, this is important, because no one's acting normal. No one's just like, oh yeah, cool, he was there.
And I'm just going to put words into Candace's mouth for a second here. I don't think she's talking about like no one's acting normal, like Harrison and people on X and like general citizens and like people with opinions on the internet. That's not who she's talking about. She's talking about insiders behind the scenes. She's talking about like influence operations behind the scenes. She's talking about Brian Harpole himself. She's talking about TPUSA and Erica. She's talking about like this quiet campaign behind the curtain. That's what's weird. X is always going to be X. X is a shit show, and it's always a shit show, and that's what it is.
Like, it also...
I do want to interject something here, which nobody really is considering. Let's just give TPUSA, everybody, Erica Kirk, Andrew Colvett, just for one moment, go into the realm of Andrew Bustamante. And everything is 100% incompetence. They're all stupid idiots who don't know what the fuck they're doing. And they're self-destructing because Charlie held them together. So just consider that aspect for one moment. I don't believe it's completely that. But I think, just to keep an open mind and not be biased towards and jump to any conclusions, I think you have to, let's call it the Andrew Bustamante theory of stupidity.
Also is, as we have now learned, it's an intel base. He was telling the truth about exactly what building it was. I didn't name the building on my show because I wasn't sure if that would be like a national security problem, but it just happened to be that JTF was borrowing that offsite building, and it was supposed to be a top secret meeting for those purposes. Somebody that was involved in blacking out the windows has sent us a tip.
Someone who is involved in blacking out the windows has sent us a tip. That's interesting to know.
Again, it's how people are reacting to the meeting that lets us know that it's important.
Okay. I mean, I guess
regarding the hotel, I never said it was important. Like I said, my perspective was there's 1,000 different reasons that she could have been at that base. Her mother has a contract or had a contract, has a contract with the DOD. Erica has been open about her mother's ties to the military in the past. She actually did an interview and said that she moved to Arizona because her mother had a contract with the military. So,
and if I wanted to come back to this and remember that part for the future, like a month from now, I could always pull up my boy Webb and just go search for hey, didn't Coach Colin have an episode where someone talked about blacking out windows? And I would find it right there. And then I would click a link right there. And then I would wind up right there.
See how cool this app is. For anybody, you want to fact check who said what, and we can get rid of a lot of mistakes there. Nobody will have any excuses of misquoting anybody.
Yeah, baby. Yes, we would. Because we already got this episode in. You're dang straight. You're dang straight.
So again, weird thing is when Andrew's like, Erica wasn't in some fort, as if he's never heard of Fort Huachuca. His brother is in the military. His brother is a Captain Curtis.
We're going to hear a lot of people tonight sort of pretend like Candace changed her story on a lot of these different pieces, which she did not in most of these cases, as far as I can tell. And a lot of them are about how she apparently originally claimed that Erica was seen on the 9th, and then she was claimed that Erica was seen on the 8th. As far as I'm aware, she was always saying that the blonde woman had been alleged to have been seen on the 8th. And then the next day was when allegedly this meeting had happened. And that's been my understanding of this all along. And I think that when people get emotional and people start accusing each other and start being really angry at each other, I think a lot of people lower their standard of speech and evidence to just start being fucking, you're changing your story and you're fucking doing this. And I'm kind of making an Alex Jones voice because we're going to look at him saying these things later.
Curtis Colvett is
that's the fault of their mother. You don't go off like that. You learn how to express yourselves with your voice and your words.
First cousin is Captain Robert Colvett. So that kind of a language is why I've named this, why it suddenly really matters, right? It was sort of one episode. I didn't exactly dedicate a whole series to it. The reaction has been so almost violently obsessed that the public is now going, oh, okay, well, it feels like there's something here. I think that's just sort of our natural instinct.
Okay. I mean, I think if you're saying that somebody is...
It's really funny that this guy who she's talking to, and I just want to focus on her and the clips that are really important, but she pretty much kind of lays into this guy a little bit because he's acting like he doesn't understand, and he's acting like he's coming from this, I don't know, fair place, but at the same time, he works with Balak's tones. He works with him. So we all know why he's there. And that's wwhy he's starting off his conversation, his speaking with, why does all this even matter? And then
to Harrison's credit, he's there because Candace called him there. And was he not going to show up? Like he's there because Candace called him there.
Well, also, he is a little
Let me
bit.
just turn my light up a little bit. I turned it down earlier.
Like,
and he does work with Alex Jones. He works for Alex Jones. He's an InfoWars reporter.
Yeah. He was sent.
We'll look at clips later. He doesn't get told what to say. Alex doesn't own his soul. He frequently thinks things differently than Alex.
He ends up being like, this is a nothing burger, and I don't think this is going to be anything.
All that being said, I strongly disagree with Harrison on this topic specifically, but I don't care. Still dope. Still a good guy.
And I know you're insinuating that Erica Kirk had something to do with this, and you say you're not, but I know you are, and all this stuff. And then Candace actually very kindly just kind of goes, yeah, that's nice. That's good. We're going to move on to someone else. Like, I'm not even going to get into it, but let's just focus on why Fort Huachuca is important. But Balak's tones, the fall off needs to be studied. $1 billion in debt. Hey, you know what? Honestly, what would you do if you were $1 billion in debt, huh?
Yeah. Makes a good point. Everybody's got their price.
Yeah, never mind.
I'll say
you ever think of that?
I got no problem.
You might start doing stuff like Balak's. You might just start making things up and shouting and screaming and hooting and hollering, doing whatever you were told. Anyway, let's just jump into this. I don't want to get focused on.
Let's just say that in this industry, it's not the debt that makes you do that.
About Balak's just works my nerves. That Balak's, that tones. Anyway, let's get into the next clip.
There would be no reason to lie when you have the whole world on your side.
Okay, so I have that on double speed, of course. You guys know me. I'm double speed McCoy, not to be confused with the magnificent, handsome, chiseled Mikey McCoy. I'm just double speed McCoy.
For you. Why are you lying?
Well, that's not going to work.
Well, since you mentioned Andrew Colbert, Candace, if I may jump in,
Sure.
And to address Harrison.
So now this is Sam Parker speaking.
And one of the things that I remember that I keep in mind throughout this entire investigation is in an investigation, details matter, but you don't know what details matter until you investigate them.
Precisely.
And when this, and as an outside observer on this particular story, the Fort Huachuca story, all of a sudden I've been airdropped this detail that one of the top members of Charlie Kirk's security detail is at an Army intelligence base the day before Charlie's assassinated. Now, that's a detail. I don't know what it means. I don't know if it means anything. I don't know if it's important or not important, but that's a detail. That is a definite detail because Brian Harple's job is to protect Charlie Kirk.
Right.
That's his job. That's his job as one of the top members of this security detail is to protect Charlie Kirk, who the next day was assassinated. So, this is an important detail. What is one of the top members of the security detail doing at an Army intelligence base the day before? It might not mean anything, but maybe it means something. What does it mean? I don't know. I have to investigate it. Now, how does Andrew Colbert come into this? I'm reminded of the fact that he told you, Candace, that you and Tucker were on some list and possibly.
I want you to remember that. We're going to go back to that near the end because somebody else brings up Andrew as well. And we'll get into that. But he's 100% right. You don't know what details matter until you investigate them. And that's why, when I did.
And anybody who doesn't believe that Candace would have had threats upon her life and she's just being paranoid and you want to brush it off, get with the picture. Get with the picture.
My video.
Myron Gaines jumped into the space and dropped a really interesting perspective on this because he used to be a federal investigator. And he just reminded everybody that normally in an investigation, investigators do have to run down leads to dead ends, and they have to run down all sorts of suspicions that may or may not go anywhere. They have to look into the neighbors, and they have to look into the mailman, and whatever else comes up.
This is what the authorities.
And he pointed out that the main difference here is that Candace is doing that, but she's doing it in front of millions of people every day. And so there's always armchair quarterbacks, and there's always, different. Myron brought a really level perspective to it that was really refreshing, because as someone who had worked in investigations, he understands them very well, and as someone who has worked in this media environment, he understands it quite well. And that's not who was talking right now. Myron had a different section that Coach Collin does not clip, but I just wanted to highlight it because what Myron said was very on the money, that it's a whole different ball game, and people will criticize Candace for the way she's doing this, but it's like, how else are you going to do it? You got to look into these things. If you're like, her friend was murdered. She's going to look into it. She's not going to stop. And I don't blame her. So she's going to look into it, and it's going to be public. And the best she can do is to just be really clear about, like, this is what I do know, and I have information to back these things up, and this is what I don't know, and this is speculation, and this is what he said he witnessed, but I can't speak for him because I don't have his eyes. And I feel like she's done a pretty damn good job of that for the most part. She's done a better job than almost anyone else on the internet ever does. She's not perfect at it, but she's done a pretty good job of it.
When I was talking about Candace,
she can't confirm what Mitch Snow said. Only Mitch Snow can confirm what he said. In fact, it cracked me up because he said, yeah, I want some of those glasses that all the security guys had. At Charlie Kirk's assassination, that it's phone, and you can make film, and just click it, and you're filming the whole damn thing.
His response to Valhalla, where he was like, case, like, this is done for anybody who has any logic. And I was like, well, like, let's just see where she goes with it. Let's not just close it off yet. And that's just my thinking. And my thinking is like that towards anybody who's looking into Mitch. It's like, keep going.
Keep going.
Like, I know Valhalla said he's kind of done.
If you want, keep going. I agree. Keep going. But do come and contact me. Please do not call me on my telephone, my cell phone, because all I get is spam. That either my email, I'm on WhatsApp as well. You can contact me there. Zoom, we can do a Zoom call. Please. You don't want to platform me. You don't want to share your limelight with me. That's fine. That's fine. I really. Look, I even got my avatar on there to try and deal with the low resolution problems here. So, that's fine. But stop with the misinformation and bashing Mitch Snow, playing into the hand of I assume everybody's enemy, because anybody here, we want to find out who killed Charlie Kirk or who is here in a cover-up. That's the question.
He had all the information. He wants to bang it out, let everybody know who this guy is, what he is, and just leave it at that. But it's like, I don't know, go deeper if you can. Why not? Let's hear everything about the guy. I don't know.
Yeah, I'm hoping, please, Mitch Snow, contact me. Let's get going. The idea that you had for the vets on the Facebook page is what I've been trying to do with the expat spouses. This again goes into the Federation of American Women's Clubs Overseas. Mitch, check out my global expats plan. This is, it's the same networking and helping people instead of, you've been shafted. The poor guy has been shafted by the vets, just like I've been shafted by the patriotic housewives and FACO.
For clarification, chat's talking about the Give, Send, Go that Candace set up.
Oh, by the way, Patriotic Housewives, check out the Daughter of American Revolution, what they're pulling it over there. And check out my ancestry with Founding Father on John Dickinson and John Paul Jones.
It's only messed up if he's actually an abuser, and I don't feel confident that we know that he is. If you actually follow the story of people digging up both sides of his past, I'm not entirely confident that the domestic abuse charges and accusations and stuff like that are necessarily all true. If they are,
they're not. He was the one who was abused by her. There are abusive women, and I'm sick and tired. The Me Too movement, every woman should be believed, has just made matters so much worse in the due process problems in the court. That's what you all should be focusing on.
Then fuck him and fuck that. And I strongly agree with how Nate Valhalla VFT represented what he knew at the time, what evidence he had, and his condemnation of that behavior. 100%, totally. But
well, no, excuse me. You're going to condemn somebody's behavior. Make sure that is what they did. This was not rocket science in checking this out. All they had to do was look at the video, there's one on YouTube that Cataspinda did, and then another with another guy as well, New Earth, I think it's called, on Rumble. And just with those two and talking to the guy, I mean, you saw how buddy Gary Melton was with Mitch, and then when he comes out and says, I mean, you talk about your two-faced little so-and-sos. I mean, he would do just well, very well at any country club, high-class country club, hanging out with these ladies. Same can of worms.
But this is why I hesitated to get into it, and I hesitated even once people were showing me that kind of stuff. I'm like, yeah, but I don't know. I'm not a family court, and it's not my job to be a family court. And I'm going to wait and just see how the evidence plays out when people dig it all up, because I know people are going to dig it all up. And I don't know.
The problems in family courts are if you own a business, if you own a business, if you own a property, if you have a life, if you exist as a citizen, you should be concerned with what's going on in the courts.
Know if he did those things or not. It looks to me like some of it at least he did, which is not good. It's not good. But I know
the
that
only thing they have is with him with a hammer, and he hits her beloved car with a hammer. Okay, that was not the best move, because precisely she had her. I mean, my ex did this with me, and this is a very, very age-old tactic. All of them use it. And she obviously wanted to incite him to violence and film it, and then she has the proof that he's a wife beater and that he's violent, and everything that she's saying is true. Oh, believe me, we all know this game. No, check into what's going on here.
he was on the base, and we'll get into that more in the future. I know he was on the base before Charlie was killed, and I know we have literal digital fingerprint evidence of him being there. Very extensive digital evidence of him being there. So it's like I have to square these two things. A bad person can be in a place where they have evidence or witness to a crime. And so it's just complicated. And that's why I've not been reporting on it a lot, and I've not been hitching my horse to it, because it's just a whole minefield. And I can't help but wonder if it being a minefield is not an accident. And I don't know what direction it's not an accident.
Like,
but
maybe something will pop up, and then all of a sudden it's like, okay, now I understand. Now I understand. Right there. Perfect. You just never know.
You never know.
Let the details keep rolling out, man. Oh. I don't want anybody to stop.
Hitching your midget
people
horse.
Email me all the time.
But you never know. I mean, excuse me. Y'all want to be a little gossip columnist who sit there and, let me see what the headlines say today, and we're going to discuss. You're opening yourselves up for lawsuits and serious legal problems if you make a mistake by quoting fake news.
I'm about Charlie being alive, and I'm going to make a video on that eventually, but it's like, let them keep going down that app.
Oh, what about the money? I don't know if you mean in the Give, Send, Go, but the Give, Send, Go has not been given to Mitch yet. Mitch has said that he doesn't want it unless his facts prove out to be true and actually lead the investigation forwards. And Candace, I think, is probably not going to give him the money if it turns out to be that he really clearly is actually abusive and shit like that.
This is disgusting. All of these people who are making so much money, these podcasters, don't have the time to look into the story of Mitch. Yet we're going to sit here on this money and we're going to, play jury on Mitch, whether he's entitled to this money or not. I mean, first off, who died and made you God to make that decision? I mean, sure, but we'll get into this. Gary Melton and Patriotic Dad are the ones we should be looking into.
Undecided yet. At this point, none of it has been given to Mitch. So,
avenue. There's people who are still towards the detonator, the palm gun. like, you know, electrocution now. It's like, let people just go off and figure out what makes sense and what doesn't. Just let them. Who cares?
Yep.
It's weird. It's weird that all of a sudden,
once people are honing in on a very credible detonation theory, a very credible shape charge microphone detonation theory is starting to get talked about, suddenly it's Maury out here. Suddenly we are all distracted by people's past and by domestic violence and all this shit, by the family courts. And I don't know if it's just Fort Huachuca or maybe if it's more than just Fort Huachuca, but it's just happens to coincide with largely Barron digging up and loudspeakering John Bray's theories about a shape charge explosion in the microphone. So,
you know, and going to what Candace said within these two clips, Candace talking about the reaction. The reaction is odd, man. Like, just let people go. Like, if you know something, let that be the thing that you know, and let that be the reason why you don't go down the avenue that everybody else is going down. You know? It just kind of makes sense to me, especially when it's a crowdsourced type of thing. That's the thing when an investigation is crowdsourced. No one has any right to say this is a dead end. If somebody's like, I'm going.
Right? So like Nate got in touch with me and was like, yo, I've got all this shit on Mitch Snow. He's a piece of shit. We should save Candace from this story.
See, working behind the scenes, oh, I've got all of this information. Well, Nate, please, could you send me the information as well? I'd like to know what you're all accusing him of. And we can address this on an open platform. But all of this behind the scenes, that's not going to be good.
We should stop her from talking about it. Like other stuff. He wasn't pressure, like he wasn't being aggressive with me at all. We'll get to that later. But I was kind of just like, I mean, like, I'll convey a message, but like, I'm not going to tell people what to say or not to say. I'm not going to tell people what to do. And I'm also not going to jump on your bandwagon.
I mean, this country is so high school, it's not even funny. This is how professional people are conducting themselves.
Either, because like, I don't know, man, you should go down that and you should expose all of that. But like, I'm going to do what I'm doing. I'm going to keep reporting on what I'm reporting on because shit's complicated out here. And you never know what's getting fed where for what reasons. You never know what exactly is going on until often long after. So just let people dig. Let them go down the whole rabbit holes they're going to go down. And if they're getting distracted or they're getting tricked or they're getting played, then, you know, they'll learn from that. And we'll all learn from watching it, right? You don't have to, like, right? There's fed shit out here all over the place.
It's a learning experience while the world goes to hell.
There's psyops flying left and right. People are going to get tricked. People are going to get played. Some people are fucking in on it. Just sit back and watch the crazy show and try to learn as much as you can.
Sit back and watch the crazy show. Our country, we've just gone into, I think we're headed soon, we'll be at $39 trillion in debt. I mean, Washington is taking everybody for a ride. The violence is getting worse. We just invaded Venezuela. I mean, that's looking for a shit show. No, but let's just sit back and watch the show. Get some popcorn and let's all have a good time.
And so I was
watching our world self-destruct before our eyes.
You know, I'll talk about it more in a bit when it comes up, but I was kind of like, hey man, like I'm not going to fucking try to tell anyone what to say, and I'm not going to hitch my horse to any wagon, and I'm not like the arbiter of Candace or anything like that. So
I'm doing this.
Babysitter.
Then they're doing this. That's it. You don't get to be like, no, you have to stop and do like, no, that's actually not how crowdsourcing works. Everybody is doing
it's really
their
that
own
simple
thing, and it's all compiling. It's all compiling. Speaking of which, did you hear about what Ian's doing? Oh, it would be like a whole video in and of itself.
Did you hear about what Ian's
making
doing, dog?
it's a database with all of our videos. It's so wild.
We got Coach Colin right here, bro.
Into it right now.
We got Coach Colin right there.
It's going to be like an hour long.
Yeah,
but
what's up,
man,
Coach?
What that guy's doing. Just shout out to Ian. Incredible. If you don't know what I'm talking about,
Coach, I'll hit you up on the DMs. I'll send it your way for the beta testing, bro. I'll let you beta test it. We're going to need some journalists to beta test it with us before we give it out to the public to make sure that the public doesn't break it right away. So, Coach, I'll hit you up. I would love to see other YouTube journalists use this shit and test it out and come up with use cases that we hadn't thought of before.
I'll make a video on it, man. But let's move on to alibis. Let's jump right in to alibis. We're going to start off. Let me see who we're starting off with. I believe it's
Heavy
Brian
Lumber.
Harpole.
Thank you. Thanks for
then
gifting
we're going to
themselves.
jump over to Candace talking about messaging Brian Harpole, getting silence from him, Brian and Turning Point and how their situation actually went. To have a clip a little bit about that. I didn't realize this. Turns out he actually was fired. I didn't realize this. I heard it, but Candace actually is verifying it from Turning Point's mouth because they have not spoken about this publicly. And then Erica failing her alibi test with Candace.
I mean, this is where I'm kind of like, you guys, a lot of what's coming out from TPUSA is just complete incompetence. Complete.
There's a reason why Erica went to Gary from Paramount Tactical instead of going to Candace. There's a reason for that.
Yeah.
And you'll find out about that in a second. Let's start off. Let's go. Where's it at? What, are we kidding me? What?
What?
What are we talking about here?
What's going on, bro? What's cracking? What's cracking?
Look further into that. Okay, well, that's another like interesting thing that's happening. I would like to look further into that. Now, in terms of people saying
Did
that,
Gary delete a video?
You know, Erica doesn't.
Did Gary delete a video? What? What's going on?
Alibi. I didn't ask Erica for an alibi. So when
we used to have an expression, put your foot in your mouth and chomp. And that is what Gary has been doing consistently.
Suddenly I realized that Paramount Tactical was speaking with Andrew Colvett and she was providing an alibi to Andrew Colvett. Well, then suddenly now, if you're going to provide an alibi, then let's provide an alibi. Like, you know what I'm saying? I'm happy to just like communicate whatever that alibi is. I never demanded it privately. I didn't demand it in her face. And I still don't, even if she had said, yeah, I was at Fort Huachuca, I was at a hotel and I was dropping off a package, that doesn't necessarily put her at the meeting the next day. But Mitch did say that the person who he thinks looks like Cabot Phillips was at that meeting the next day. So obviously that's interesting. Like, obviously, if we're investigating this, we should just, like, we could check it off the list and move on. I have messaged Brian Harpole, just so you guys know, thus far, I want to say 4 times, at least 3 times, asking him. Again, we can't say he was willing to give his flights, but doesn't want to also just give his metadata or a picture or something. They took a text message at that time to clear his name. Okay. You either want to give an alibi or you don't want to give an alibi. You either are saying, I don't owe you an alibi, I don't want to answer at all.
Gary did not delete a video. Paramount did not delete the video. Okay, cool.
Don't
we're groovy.
start rumors. That's how
it's a pretty embarrassing video, though, not going to lie.
Provide a full alibi. Now, I will say that I had some communication. I did message also once the thing exploded with Andrew Colvett because he's just getting on my nerves. Like, really, I have been so nice.
I have had people messaging me from the inside, from the outside, from all around the sides about how much they do not trust Andrew Colvett and how much they do not like Andrew Colvett since the very beginning. I don't know the guy. I don't have an opinion on him other than the publicly facing image of him, which isn't great. But oh boy, do people have opinions about Andrew Colvett.
In terms of what I have told the public about things that Andrew Colvett told me, he's starting to like a little bit play with the bull, and we're getting real close. We're getting real close to me just saying, if you guys really think that I have not been fair, you will really recognize how fair I have been if he keeps pressing me. And I felt very pushed. But
I would love to know what that means.
I'll tell you what that means, Coach.
So would I.
It means that Candace has a fuckload more sources and archived information and things to say than she says. And then she puts out there, just like everyone that's deep in this industry, everyone that's been around, everyone that has a lot of connections and sources.
Everybody's got dirt on everybody.
She knows a lot of people, and people talk.
Oh, yeah.
And they share screenshots and all sorts of stuff. And I can only imagine, speculatively, that Candace because I know that Candace protects her sources quite well. I know that Candace will hold on to things and not just blow them out, like not just blow people up. And in this case of Charlie Kirk being murdered, she's been a little more liberal with sharing things that she would otherwise not. But yeah, I bet that she has a lot about Andrew Colvett back there. I bet she has a lot of stuff about TPUSA and other people there that she's not shared because it's just not exactly as relevant to Charlie specifically. That would be my guess.
Because she must be talking about more private conversations that they've had, because he was a source at one point for her. And I wonder what she's talking about putting out there. You know, I really do think, from hearing Candace, from hearing what Andrew has let out, from seeing his reaction when he actually is being the spokesperson for Turning Point and how he's handled things, I think he was so close to Charlie that whatever happened to Charlie, I don't think it was random. I don't think it was just random Tyler doing his thing. And whatever happened, I think he might be in danger as well.
Coach has a different opinion of Andrew Colvett than me. And that's fine. I personally do not believe that Andrew Colvett is all that great of a guy based on what I have seen. But who knows? I don't know. I like having people that are on the reporting, on the investigation, that have different opinions. Because it means that they will run down different leads. It means that if you don't fucking believe this part of the story, they'll go take care of that part of the story for you so you don't have to. And if you're so sure that you're right, then just sit back and watch, and they'll embarrass themselves a little bit. They'll get caught in the mud. They'll get tripped up. They'll get on a bad story, right? So don't worry about it. You know, I'm talking about Fort Huachuca here. It's like if someone is going down the wrong direction, just let them. It's fine. You don't have to like stop them from doing it. That's kind of weird.
Well,
I'm not saying like, it just from the way that
your friend, you might want to say, hey, you're making some errors here. And this is a friendly, I contact everybody in good faith. I don't have animosity towards anybody. I just want us to move forward with solutions in cleaning up the courts and having good governance in the United States, in Washington. Everybody up on Capitol Hill starts doing their jobs. White House starts doing its job. Everybody just does their job like they're supposed to. That's all I want. Well, to go home to my sons, on a personal level. And I mean, and I got some news. I mean, any lawyer, I do need a couple, probably a couple of them have to get on board on this one. But I promise you, anybody who will help me, I will make you millionaire several times over. Look, I got so many freaking lawsuits of so many people high up. Everybody's opining. Let's do something about it.
He acts, and if enough stuff comes out, it seems like he's putting himself in danger, because what's being revealed is that he gave out a lot of information that he probably wasn't supposed to give out. He probably wasn't supposed to say anything to Candace or Tucker or Benny Johnson. He probably wasn't supposed to have anybody know that he put those text messages and gave those text messages to the authorities. Like, there's probably a lot that wasn't, you know what I mean? And he's getting found out left and right. And he like got rid of his entire Instagram because of it.
He did.
He got rid of all his tweets.
Andrew Colvett deleted his entire Instagram. A PR official, the public relations guy for TPUSA, deleted his entire public Instagram.
The PR people have been infiltrated, just like the HR people, by the feminists. They don't know what they're doing. They're crazy, and they all need to be drained. And I mean, one of my favorite lawsuits is against, well, this is IMF, but this is the head of the IMF HR, Kalpana Kochar, who now is over at the Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation. See, the thing is the job of an HR person, human resource management, is managing resources. It's not bugging the shit out of all of your employees.
That's not something you do if you're a PR official. That's a valuable business asset. That is an extremely valuable business asset. And we went into it like a couple weeks ago into this TikToker that had been, I guess, Instagrammer that had been commenting at him, and he commented back and then deleted his Instagram account, and she like recorded it and talked about it in 2 different videos. It was all very weird. Very weird.
It's before September 10th. Before September 10th. He got rid of all of his tweets. Like, something's going on with that guy, you know? Like Baron said, you got to get your soul clean. That's what he said to Andrew. Let's keep going.
That Paramount Tactical thing. These people are lunatics, blah, blah, blah. It's like, bro, send me a text, and I could have shut it down immediately. But you're like, I'm assuming you're also the person talking to Andrew. I mean, speaking to Alex, because Alex did say on his show that he spoke to Turning Point USA people, and like he had Brian Harpole's flight. So it's pretty obvious. It seems like they're working behind the scenes, and that's annoying me. It's annoying me a lot, actually. Anyways.
I like how Candace is
Yeah, it's annoying me as well.
reverted to just being like, it's annoying. Yeah. It's annoying me. I'm fed up with it. I'm over it.
So once I saw that Andrew Colbert was speaking with Paramount Tactical and being, I don't know, I guess sort of denigrating what we were doing, I then was like, okay, let me text someone more responsible at Turning Point USA and ask, hey, do you guys want to give me an alibi? So I put Andrew Colbert and the COO in a chat, and I was like, hey, just figured we could have a direct line and you can just give me Erica.
Well, this is interesting. I wanted to know about when did Andrew Colbert delete his account, and I remembered that I had talked about it. And so I looked it up because I did talk about it, especially when you can tell that the FBI has already made up its mind and has no interest in pursuing any foreign leads or anything of to watch this piece of the story play out a little more. A little nervous because things are about to get very hairy. This turned into the pile right there. This is the clip. I just found the clip. Might find it a little spicy that fast. This is sort of some Instagram drama where apparently Andrew Colbert deleted his Instagram account cold in the middle of the night about 2 weeks ago when some questions came up. Do you see how fucking fast we just clip checked that to the exact clip? Because what I did is I realized that I actually had talked about this story as I was saying it to you. And you probably saw my body language realize that and be like, hey, Webb, did Ian Carroll ever talk about Andrew Colbert deleting his account? And Webb was like, yes, actually he did. Here's a citation. Here's a citation. Here's a citation. Here's a citation. Link. And then that link opens my video where I talked about it at the exact timestamp that I talked about it at. That is so revolutionarily game changing.
So cool.
Okay?
Chapeau.
Because Coach Colin he couldn't remember when, and he was kind of like, I think it was before September 10th. And right here in this clip, we know that actually it was not. It was like a month ago because this video is from 2 weeks ago. And you can see there, the Instagram is from 2 weeks ago.
Entire Instagram
so it was like a month ago.
Because something is off here, and I'm not going to pretend it's not. Last night, I tagged Andrew Colbert in the comments of one of my videos, literally just tagging him in this comment saying he should sit down with Candace Owens and have a chat. Nothing dramatic, right? And around 5 o'clock this morning, I woke up and had a notification that Andrew Colbert had responded to my comment telling me to private message him. But when I clicked it, it was gone, like wiped, deleted. The comment was gone, the page was gone, like I had hallucinated the whole thing. So I go digging and tell me why the account I had just tagged hours earlier was completely deleted. As in, Instagram said that the page does not exist. But wait, because it gets even weirder.
Right? Isn't that fucking crazy? The ability to just clip pull like that is a total game changer. A total game changer. So we're just going to keep it open over here in case we need to clip pull anything else.
Because alibi, and I'd be happy to publish it because I'm not interested in like throwing mud on someone's name. I just want to get to the truth. That conversation was had yesterday, and they did give.
And no, she did not get blocked. I went and double checked it. It's gone. it gone. Unless he blocked everybody. All sorts of people double checked it. It gone.
Give me an indication of what she was doing, which was making dinner for Charlie. I have asked for, metadata to show that it was, Charlie that she was texting, and I'm still waiting for that. So the last conversation I had with them.
See, Candace does this thing where she's very transparent about, she just says what she knows. She just says what's real. She's like, and sometimes she doesn't know everything. Sometimes she gets things wrong, right? But she's like, this is what I knew. This is who I sent messages to. This is what they said. I asked these questions. I haven't heard back.
She is meticulous, and she's very good, and she's very professional, and everybody should stop being jealous against her for it and try and work together. And also, this is why she's not afraid of being sued, just like me. I'm like, yeah, well, give me a lawyer who knows what the frick they're doing. But yeah, I want to go to court. I want to go to court. Please, please, please.
Just the information. That's not her accusing them. That's just her being straight with you, which is an incredibly rare trait in this industry. Okay.
Yeah. Oh,
I think that was yesterday, Sunday at around 1:00 p.m. ish, my time, Central, I think. And they said that Erica got busy with the kids and that they were going to get me something. So I'm still waiting on that. Just so you guys know that I have been responsible and speaking.
God, I love that excuse. Erica was busy with the kids. That's another question. Like, what's this rumor that the kids are with Glenn Beck? I don't know.
To the people directly trying to get the information.
So from here, I'm going to show you another clip because this is at like 26 minutes in, right? But closer.
Dude, Coach is going to be so stoked when he gets web. Coach is going to be so stoked when he can just grab clips like that. Bam, baby.
To
it's going to save so much time.
Hour 25. She actually reveals this. Let me see if I can just jump over to this clip. I know I'm going to be jumping a little bit. I hope this doesn't ruin what happened with that whole Erica metadata thing right now, I believe. Let's listen to this.
Perfect example, because they did. Like you might not have been on earlier, but I reached out to Turning Point again because, like I said, I'm not interested in chasing rabbits. That I want to actually know what's real and what's not. Sunday. What's today? On Sunday. I think around 1:00 p.m. I got on the phone with them. I reached out on Saturday, got on the phone with them sometime after mass on Sunday, pardon. And they were like, hey, she was making dinner with organizing or making dinner with Charlie. We're going to send you a message of between her and Charlie speaking. And I was like, great, amazing. I will literally update Twitter right now and say Erica was making dinner with Charlie. And they send me a message, but the contact was blacked out. So I went back, obviously, and I was like, hey, the contact's blacked out. This could be a message between me and George for all I know. And I was like, do you just mind just sending, I know Charlie's number, obviously. So just show me the contact. And they were like, we blocked it out because it's like a pet, I don't know, a nickname that she has for Charlie or whatever. And she just didn't want you to see it. And I was like, okay, well,
that's kind of weird. It's a little weird. We're talking about a murder investigation and you're worried about revealing a pet nickname?
Yeah, exactly.
The pet name?
You can just change the contact name and just send me just send me a video of you opening it so I can see Charlie's number and tell my audience this is confidently a text chain between Charlie and Erica. And then they just said, look, it's Sunday. I think it was 1:00 or something. And she's busy with the kids, but we'll get you that. And so I waited. It's now been obviously more than 24 hours. It's been 30.
That is a terrible, terrible thing that's taken place. So this is the reason why they went to Gary. That reveals why they went to Gary. They went to Gary
because Gary doesn't do his due diligence is kind of what it seems.
Because Andrew thought he could just send Gary a thing and say, hey, look at this picture. And don't share it, but just to verify that's where she was, so you can just say that. And Gary was just reading the whole thing live in front of everybody, and he even read the don't share. So that went up in smoke. But
Gary did more to expose Turning Point and to help out the side of questions this last week than anyone else.
Yeah.
More than Barron, more than Candace, more than me, more than Coach, more than anyone.
Yeah.
Gary just dropped the bombs repeatedly last week live on YouTube. And it was amazing. It was amazing. Say thanks to Gary next time you see him.
That's the reason they went to Gary. Because they could just send Gary a picture where the kids' faces are blanked out. They know Gary's not going to go, well, that kid looks like Gary. Listen, Gary's great. I'm sure he is. I'm sure he's really nice. You know, everybody's somebody's kid. You know what I mean? And, you know, we love our kids. We really do. So I'm sure he's great. But Gary's not going to go, oh, well, you know, that looks like a boy. And it looks like a boy who's like maybe 4 years old. And Erica doesn't have a boy that's 4 years old. And
that's usually when it's good to have a woman in your little conversation arena. That's a woman's gonna notice that. Men are not gonna notice.
The girl there, that looks like it could be the girl's age, but I don't know. You have your finger over it, and I can't see anything except for September 9th, 8:33.
We're just gonna drop into Barron's stream from last, I think, Sunday here real quick.
Work from Gary from
great.
Paramount Tactical. Gary from Paramount Tactical has done more to support Candace Owens than anyone else over the weekend. I can't think of anyone who's done more to support her and provide actual real evidence to support her inquiry into the events at Fort Huachuca than Gary from Paramount Tactical has done. He should be commended for his work.
You have proof of this? He says, but it's worth saying Erica wasn't in some fort in Tucson. The internet's gone insane. She woke up next to Charlie on the 9th, went to the office with Charlie all day, woke him up from a nap before a fox hit, went to dinner with Charlie. Literally, people are lunatics. And then the next one, I will show you guys.
And remember, Gary first came out like questioning the narrative, questioning the bullet, and then just hard right turned into trust the narrative. Real hard. And then hard to right turned into dedicate your whole channel to attacking Candace Owens, which is a choice.
Yeah.
I want to pause here real quickly.
The question is, is Gary jealous of Candace? Is somebody paying him? You know, why this insistence of destroying Candace? And he flips. Either it's Mitch Snow or Candace.
Because we got to get Barron's reaction to this same argument that Erica made when she was talking. Child is trashing you. You must be a bad guy. You can't, nothing you say can be believed.
This is where Gary had Mitch Snow's estranged son on his podcast to debunk Mitch Snow. And it didn't go so well.
Surely no one will believe you're at Fort Huachuca. After that, well, let's see how that went. I will suggest it did not go as planned.
Security clearance. Or if he does walk into the Joint Task Force staff duty, he might.
So Gary's holding the fake police report from when Mitch got arrested on the base, and oh, it's so silly. This is obviously a fake report, right? Mitch's son,
because he didn't get arrested on the base. He was just detained. They didn't arrest him for anything.
This is a ridiculous fake police report, Mitch's son.
Might end up detained and outside getting the canines called on him as per this report, which again, I don't even know if this report.
I'd like to point out at this point, Barron Coleman, he was, is in on this explosion theory about the ballistic theory. So he was looking into getting a dog that, can smell explosives to go to UVU and see if they can't find anything trace. He said, you can't believe looking into this. It started a fund, like $14,000 was like cheap. So see again, wasting freaking money, American dollar taxpayers' money on having these dogs go and do this kind of bullshit and harass ex-vets. Little note there.
Report is real or not.
Oh, Gary doesn't know if the report's real or not. Hey, Mitch Snow's son. That's probably your indication to play into that. Lean into that, Mitch Snow's son. Let's go with we don't know if the report's real. What say you,
Barron was
Snow's
cooking
son?
this night.
There's so much craziness going on with this report.
I mean,
Plate number.
They called me on September 9th.
Hold on. They called him. The Fort Huachuca called the guy. Fort Huachuca called Mitch Snow's son on September 9th.
For real.
It gets worse. I want you to count the number of times Gary blinks. Watch the fight or flight response kick in. All that military training out the window the moment the kid outs you. All that military training just goes away. All the ability to withstand the pressure. All the ability.
See the competition there between the white collar educated man and the military. This gets into managerialism.
To be cool under pressure, cool under fire. Watch how many times he blinks.
Look at that face.
Asking me if I knew anything about a Mitch Snow and telling me that I was listed as his number one emergency contact. And I just remember sitting there for like a minute, like, I don't know a Mitch Snow. I don't know why I'd be on somebody's emergency contact.
Did you see the big breath?
Awkward. It's a little awkward, bud. It's a little awkward.
I think he sucked in like 9 gallons of air.
Yeah.
He blinked 10 times in under 5 seconds and then.
Yeah. That is how that went. Yes, indeed. Yes, indeed. All praise, Gary. Thank you, Gary, Paramount Tactical. You have done good work for us. I appreciate it. So let's remind ourselves. Candace has.
It's always so annoying to have your enemy say, "Oh, thank you so much for helping me. You've been of great assistance."
Digital metadata from multiple pieces of metadata, like multiple pieces of digital content from Mitch confirming that his cell phone was on that base. And I have reason to believe that that also confirms that he was on that base beyond just his cell phone being there.
Yeah,
I believe it at that.
I don't know. Is anybody proposing a flying cell phone theory? I don't
But it's still up in the air if he's telling the truth about other parts of the story. Candace has said that she has corroborated personally things like that building was the right building and these other things about it. And then Gary airs this episode and we get confirmation from Mitch's own son, his estranged son, who literally didn't even know that Mitch had changed his name to Mitch Snow, that he got called by military police on September 9th, corroborating one of the unbelievable parts of the story, that he'd gotten like detained by police and like they wanted a K9 and all this shit. And that's a pretty important part of the story.
Yeah.
And so it's like, let's assume that Mitch is an evil woman beating.
What is it? There's one famous quote, like, when your enemy is hanging themselves out to dry and shooting themselves, just keep let them talking. Just keep let them talking.
Piece of shit that deserves our condemnation, rightly. The story about Fort Huachuca is still checking out. I mean, let's not give him money at that point. But the story of
what's this whole let's not give Mitch money? I mean, first off, that's Candace who started that. That's her decision. Nobody else has anything to say about that. And also, what's this? Oh, we'll give you money if we like you. I mean, I got pissed off when Tucker Carlson he gives money to Erica Kirk when her husband gets shot. I'm like, excuse me, white privileged women, I'm getting raked over the coals because all of you frat boys have hung us out to dry and you don't want to get involved in any unpleasantness, and you're all married to either dumb bimbo blondes like Susan Andrews or foreign honeypots like Melania Trump, like Usha Vance, like Nicole Shanahan, like Ariana Huffington. The country's infected with them.
about Fort Huachuca is still checking out. Real good. So that's where it's like, people that are just trying to like blow that away is kind of weird. Maybe he's wrong about who he thought he saw there. Maybe he's like trying to pull a move about who he thought he saw there. Maybe he's just making that part up. I don't know. But why do you care if Candace runs it down? Because clearly he was there.
Yeah.
I don't know if this is a proper alibi. Gary's not doing none of that. Gary's just like, perfect alibi. There's a picture. There's a finger over it. Perfect finger. I know that's Erica's finger. And those are some young people there. Perfect. That's all I need to see. They knew.
The problem, the concern is with the courts is that the courts, the lawyers, the judges, everybody in there, including the jury that they're going to bring in, are going to be drinking Kool-Aid just like Gary. Oh, yeah, okay, we're good. You gave me a photo. Doesn't matter, it's the wrong date, but well, we won't pay any attention to that. This is precisely the incompetence that Tyler Robinson, and this goes into whether he killed Charlie Kirk or not. He has the right to the presumption of innocence and a fair and impartial trial that upholds the rule of law and due process.
Gary would do something like that. But if you send that to Candace goes, if you could just, and they go, oh, well, Erica doesn't want you to know that she used to call Charlie Schmooky Bookie. So
it's really private.
I'm sorry. There's only so many people who are allowed to see that his nickname on her phone was Schmoopy Boopy.
Maybe his nickname on her phone was like some maybe I shouldn't say this. Maybe that'd be defamation. Maybe it wasn't a pet name. Maybe it was some other kind of name. Who knows? I don't know.
I'm not sure what the insinuation is. Pull on that one.
Use your imagination.
Hey.
Yeah, I'm not following.
It could be. Why is that ridiculous, what I just said? You don't know. I'm sure your wife has some kind of nickname for you. Your husband has some kind of nickname for you.
For me, it's my mark. That's what I put it in my phone. My girlfriend's actually in my phone as my mark.
My mark.
That's just me personally, though. Handle this one. That's what I put in my phone for my girlfriend. Just personally. I'm just saying. I don't know about you guys, but who knows? Not like Mark the name, bro.
I don't get it, man.
Okay, yeah.
I don't get it.
I don't
get how you can fail it. This is the thing.
Chat's unhinged.
Even if you're a liar, I'm not saying Erica is, okay? But at least do it.
You're not in my phone as my mark. Gigi's in my phone as baby girl. Your husband is in your phone as husband?
Better. Like, you have multiple people to sit around and figure out the lie together. So you just go, guys, how can we lie perfectly? She wants a picture. How do we lie all together? How do we figure this out, guys?
Think it through.
And everybody just has a hand in the lie. I'm not saying...
What people have to understand, again, going back to let's keep an open mind that this is complete and total incompetence. Pathological liars, they can't help themselves. They're addicted to it. I mean, I would sit there with my mom and would be like, you just made up something that you didn't have to make up a lie. Why would you do that? It is an addiction, just like any other addiction, really.
And that's what they should do. But if you got 3-4 people and you're making things up, like, put your heads together. Come on.
Get your head in the
game.
This
is crazy.
Yeah.
Just send the picture and just blank out the name. Yeah, so it's from Cabot. It's for sure from Cabot. It's fine. Just black out Cabot's name.
Coach Colin is pointing out something very important here, though. In the media space, they have a lot of ways to get information to come from people like me and Coach and Gary, whether or not they know it, so that the media space gets flooded with this information that's coming from organic sources. It's like money laundering, but it's information laundering. When you need to launder money, you take your dirty money and you give it to an organization that doesn't ask too many questions. And then you pass it through that.
You did not put it in the washing machine and hang it out to dry. I've heard of that, believe me.
Organization back out into the legal lit markets as clean money where no one knows where it came from. When you need to launder information, you take information to a mouthpiece that doesn't ask too many questions.
Yeah.
Or that you own, or whatever else. And you hand them that information and you get them to give that information out to the world as though it was organic information, that the information space is just like, oh, podcasters are talking about this. Oh, my favorite investigator thinks this thing. Oh, a journalist thinks that this is what happened. You see what I'm saying? It's information laundering, and it happens to the best of us. It happens to everybody now and then. And the longer you spend in this industry, the more you learn about it, and the more you learn that you too are vulnerable to it,
every day.
and the more you learn how to guard against it, shall we say.
No, you're not.
And it sounds like Gary the Green Beret could use a lesson in how people can get played as mouthpieces.
Oh, yeah.
Okay. And let's just send her that. Yeah, block it out, huh? What?
Oh, Coach, you're stunting. Coach is just being silly.
I'm just saying.
Just saying. He's just
I'm just saying. Again, I don't condone it. But if you're going to do it right. Because this is just ridiculous. A clear lie. And Candace is very, very nice for not just being like, oh, you guys are lying to me, huh? You know that, right? Just wanted to make sure that you know you're lying. All right, so let's go back to the first clip I wanted to show you guys. This is at 8:33. This is when she started talking about alibis again. This is with, it's like some of them work and some of them don't. Let me just
didn't realize that JTF had gotten back.
When I go to 8:33, it doesn't work.
Coach, we're going to get you web, bro, and it'll work, dog. We're going to get you web, bro, okay? We'll hook it up with the clipper, and you'll get it.
Oh, yeah, is that what's going on?
Yeah, I got
you. So when I click on 8:33, then all of a sudden we got technical difficulties.
But when Webb clicks on 8:33, we got you, bro. We got you. Don't worry about it, Coach. We got you.
I see how it works.
Yeah.
Let me get this
and
here.
I knew Erica and I had a date to meet on that Monday. So that was Thursday. That's the just stop snippet. Friday, I had no show. Sunday, I want to tell you this part because this is important. On December 14th, I received a text message from Ian Carroll. I hope he is in this chat. I'd like him to jump in case I get.
Welcome. I'm in the chat. So this is, I think, when I got a whole bunch of text messages being like, Ian, get in here.
Anything wrong here. But the text message was to me and my producer, and he was like, hey, like, I have something for you guys that I need to discuss. It's pretty urgent. When I got around to calling Ian, he told me that basically he had received information from someone. He didn't want to give me the name of the person, and that definitively, like, Brian Harpole was preparing some huge lawsuit against me.
Yeah. So it was in the whisper sphere. I got information from a source that I don't want to disclose about that, and checked it with a couple others that knew something about it. And I just wanted to give her the information of like, hey, this is what I'm hearing. FYI, be aware. And that's when Candace was like, rightly was like, well, I haven't received any cease and desists. So to me, it sounds like smoke. And I was like, sounds like you'd be right to me. You know better about this than I do. And these are the kind of things that I tend to learn from Candace in these types of situations where I've not been sued for this kind of stuff before. And she knows how these things go. And I'm like, and I'm attentive to the media space, and I have this information. I'm like, based on how I have it, I wouldn't be surprised if you're right. And I trust your judgment. You do your thing. I'm just giving you the information. You'll do good. She has not been wrong about most of this so far.
And I was like, that's really weird. And I think he said like some big like Texas lawsuit. I don't know what but like basically it was like, it's a big lawsuit and like, you know, you're going to want to be careful talking about this. And I was like, okay, well, that just can't be accurate because that's not how lawsuits work. I know about lawsuits. And I said, I think someone's intentionally giving you bad information to try to scare me from talking about the Fort Huachuca thing anymore.
I actually think that information was being passed through multiple mouthpieces based on how it got to me. I think that there was multiple I suspect that there were multiple chains of that information spreading throughout the information space through multiple people, hoping that it would go through various conduits to get to her at some point. That's what I suspect was happening at that point. I don't know that for sure, but that's what I would guess.
Now, one of the things that I learned at Foxcroft was that they used to say, I told two friends who told two friends who told two friends who told two friends who told. And, you know, I did learn in my adolescence, young woman, if you will, and the importance and the power of networking in advancing one's goals, objectives. I mean, everybody sounds like they, you know, they just passed a test and they learned all of the terminology, but they don't know what the frick any of this stuff means. Yeah, so networking is important. However, if you do it amongst people who are turning a blind eye, who are either intentionally involved in criminal activity, like many people I know, and who I want to see in court, or even intentionally, for example, in investigation and stuff, I've sent emails, I've sent information. Nobody wants to listen to me. Oh, my inbox is full. I don't have time to. Too bad. You guys play these games with poor victims of the courts. You're served. I keep on telling all of the other victims, every time I hit that send button on the emails, I'm like, you're served. You're served. You're served. You have been sent emails. Even if I haven't been able to get when it was important and when I have money, I'll send a certified letter when I have a snail mail, an actual address for somebody. But I've gotten to the point, I'm like, you know what, you guys, there are so many, I've contacted so many people. At this point, email, you're done. You've been informed. You can't, and don't come to with me. Oh, I don't have enough people to read my emails. I get too many emails. I didn't know. Too bad. In the Nuremberg trials, I didn't know. I was just doing my job. Were not acceptable.
Because I didn't get it from Andrew Colvett, for example. I've never spoken to Andrew Colvett. It was being passed around from person to person.
That's very interesting. I have to stop right there because Tim Pool actually said the exact same thing.
Yeah.
He brought it up very casually and he said, I have good information.
And I didn't talk to Tim either because Tim doesn't like me very much. And I wouldn't even trust information that I got from Tim anyways.
Back when
I feel like I'm at 90210, remember that TV series, or back at Foxcroft. This is also high school. It's not even funny.
Said the whole thing that Candace was using or had used. He said using and then he switched to had used at some point. So he's kind of talking out of both sides of his mouth there. And he was saying that she had used Brian Harpole and Charlie's security and that she was lying about it. And then he said he couldn't say much because Brian Harpole, there were lawsuits coming. That's what he put out there. So Candace is actually on the nose.
Which was bullshit from the start. At least in my experience. I was like, that is obviously not true. That's not who Candace's security is at all. Not one bit. And that's ridiculous. They're Charlie Kirk's security. They're flying all over the place with Charlie Kirk all the fucking time. They're busy. They're not hanging out in Nashville at Candace's house. That was a very weird accusation, honestly. Like, a very weird episode in Tim Pool's whole trajectory here. And you know,
is accounting for in their analysis of how people are reacting. Nobody's taking into account the jealousy factor here. And that's much more important than anybody is willing to admit.
Wouldn't you know it? We can pull that clip. It keeps opening in the wrong window.
When you're
though.
sad or you're in pain and you're confused. When you're hurting and you don't know why.
Ian didn't say, but I'm going to say, because I always get super heated on this.
What up,
Candace
Webb?
Owens has the same security team as Turning Point and Charlie Kirk did.
How fast is that clip, bro? How fast is that clip grab? What's up? I've got the other clip too if you want it.
It is very cool.
Do you want the other clip?
Cool, Ian. Very cool.
There we are.
Shouldn't give two no one's out for her. She's lying about all of this. You told me you went to her house and she's got a 4-foot wall and one fat guy.
Those aren't very nice words now, are they, Tim? Maybe we should call.
I mean, what kind of professionalism is this? I remember, and this is already when Jordan Peterson had, sent me on my way. Oh my God, I saw Jordan Peterson and referring to Candace Owens. And I mean, the fury in his voice and his face, I was just like, oh my God, what is it? Why do you, it's one thing to be angry with somebody. I understand that. But this. Well, yeah, actually, I do understand the hate, unfortunately. Got it from my husband, got it from my siblings, got it from my mother, got it from a lot of people.
Calm down, pump the brakes a little, and just calm down, Tim. Yeah, what a tool, right? What a tool! Webb is blowing my mind live on stream right now, dude. I haven't even gotten to play with it yet because I've just been building and building and building. And Webb is so damn useful for way more than just pulling clips, but I've been building this whole clip builder module too. Oh, it's so great, dude. We just got clips for days.
Thinking that this is just made to distract her because Tim's entire performance was just to distract her, I think. Just to distract everybody, quite honestly.
Yeah.
Because if you notice, when Tim started flipping out is exactly when she first brought up Fort Huachuca. It actually coincides perfectly.
Yeah.
From the time he started going at Candace,
true,
was exactly when she brought up Fort Huachuca.
And this is a good indication, the reaction of everybody when this came out. So obviously they're handlers who, if they flipped, somebody is speaking in their ear.
That's some of the behind the scenes stuff that Candace is referring to.
That's the deep state.
Is a lot of people started coming after her right then.
Very interesting. Man, we're figuring things. We're learning together, guys.
We're learning things.
And see if somebody's paying attention instead of, someday I gotta go to Louis Vuitton and get my go shopping or something like that. Well, somebody who's paying attention is gonna be like, wait a second. Why is this hitting a nerve? What's going on here?
Story, but I had indicated that like I might do more with Mitch or I might pass him off to Ian Carroll. Next thing you know, Ian Carroll's getting a phone call and told that I'm about to get sued for mentioning Brian Harpole. So I thought that was like a little weird. And I basically said to Ian, I think, intentionally somebody gave you bad information. You first have to start with the cease and desist. And I don't factually know if what Mitch said was wrong. That ends. Monday is when Erica and I obviously had the sit down for 4.5 hours, and Turning Point kind of hosted a Q&A, which I thought was unfair and against the rules, I will say, because we agreed to not speak about anything. But that went on. Obviously, on the Tuesday, I came back and actually, let's go back to the meeting with Erica, because this is also relevant. During that meeting, I did not bring up the Fort Huachuca thing because I, first and foremost, needed to continue vetting various aspects of it, but also I have Brian Harpole's number. And so I was just going to text Brian Harpole directly. But it is worth saying that during that interview, Erica gave me Brian Harpole's flights and said, like, I know that you mentioned that you thought Brian Harpole was at this interview. Here are his flights. Now, you guys would later see those flights because Alex Jones then mysteriously has these flights.
These flights have been getting passed around.
Yeah.
I had seen those flights earlier in various forms. They've been getting passed around with this sort of information of like,
this is proof.
Shut up, Candace.
Yeah.
So it's just a little weird how information is flowing in the information space right now. And it's flowing through people that I don't necessarily know if they realize how it's flowing. But it's definitely not Candace's first rodeo, and thankfully by now it's not my first rodeo either.
I took the flights from her. I thought it was interesting because I didn't bring up Fort Huachuca, and I wasn't intending to bring up Fort Huachuca, and I hadn't mentioned Erica on the show. And I looked at them and I said, "Oh, well, this is not an alibi because the meeting ended at 7:30 a.m. and planes that left Fort Huachuca were back in Texas. Actually, the SAM plane, as we know, went straight to Texas, and I think Brian Harpo's flight left at like 3:42 or something in the afternoon in Texas. So I was like, this does not conflict with the idea that he could have been leaving a meeting at 7:30 a.m. So it's a pretty short flight to Texas. So I said that, and that was it. But I said, but thank you for giving me this because now I can tell people that I have these flights and also that he doesn't yet have an alibi for that morning. I just wanted to mention that because I feel like that's important. Anyways.
Thanks for the cup of Kool-Aid, but I'm not interested.
And again, doesn't mean he's guilty. Doesn't mean he was there. Doesn't mean it was a planning meeting about the assassination. It just means that it's suspicious and it's kind of weird. And the way that the information is flowing and the way that it's all happening feels like a psyop. It feels like a psyop. It feels really weird.
It looks like a duck, it walks like a duck, and it quacks like a duck. Usually a duck.
Doesn't feel like the way that I would be flowing my information if I was, like, for example, one of my favorite ones, Braceletgate. When I'm on Candace Owens' show and I've got a red bracelet on and the whole internet freaks out about my red bracelet, and they're like, what's the story here? You're Illuminati. And I was just like, I'm not. This is the story, and it's a weird story. I mean, it's fucking a weird story. It's like, I'll tell you the story, and I told you the story. And it's like, that's the truth. That is what it is. And it's not like, if I wanted to lie and try to make it a more normal story, I could have lied and tried to
And everybody's saying, you're Illuminati, you're Illuminati. Wait a second, is that one of the reasons that everybody's ignoring me? That, since I represent white privilege, I'm Illuminati. I'm just thinking that. I don't know.
Make up some normal story, but it's just a weird story. It's like, you know what? This is my girlfriend's family's background of how they used.
I'm the one calling out the Illuminati, and I got the goods on them, and I want to get rid of them.
To buy these bracelets when they were kids, and her dad bought us both ones because we were about to go travel, and that is what it is. And the story hasn't changed. It's been the same story, and I just offered it, and it was what it was. And I offered all the proof I was comfortable offering without doxing people, and I moved on. Because because it is sure, if you're deep in the conspiracy lore, that's suspicious, and that's totally fine if you want to be suspicious of that. I got no problem with that. I have no problem with people that think that I'm something nefarious. That's fine. You should be suspicious of everyone, and I'm not excluded from that.
You should be suspicious of everyone. Unfortunately, that's the world we live in, but that's not a very sane world, and that's why we have all of these stress. I mean, believe me, cure cancer, cure Alzheimer's. You people stop living this crazy life and this crazy paradigm you want to promote, and you won't have all of these illnesses.
But I don't feel some need to massage an alibi and make up new things and all these other things. It's just it is what it is. This is the truth. Here's what I got. Have it. And if you're happy with that, you're happy with that. And if you're not, I'm moving on. I'm doing my thing. So that, so it's a little weird when it's this weird roundabout alibi sleuthing to other people, and the alibi doesn't quite add up. And then it's lawsuits that aren't coming are being threatened, and it's just a little weird. It feels like a psyop.
You think?
obviously, when we went back on air on Tuesday, I recapped I was tired and just kind of went through kind of the high points or the things that we had discussed. It was a very long meeting. On Wednesday, we broke the story about Charlie's car, and that we actually had exclusive photos of what the inside of the car looked like.
Covered in fragmented black plastic, it would seem.
Yeah. There was a bizarre reaction. I was it was Patriotic Housewives, and Candace, she comes back we're all like, oh, what happened in the meeting with Erica Kirk and stuff. And she said, well, she was tired, and people were first criticizing Candace, saying she said she was going to be transparent on everything, and she's having this meeting with Erica Kirk behind closed doors. I was like, wait a second, what have you invested in this year? You're sitting here as a spectator. So don't shit on Candace if she's not doing exactly. That's just going and having a meeting with somebody and discussing something behind closed doors doesn't mean that you're not being transparent. I mean, I was floored. I was like, Candace is the one. If anybody sues anybody, it's Candace. Patriotic Housewife, she's like, I mean, I contacted her because she said, oh, do you have any like criminal stories or scandals and stuff? I'm like, oh, I got a treasure chest. Never heard back from them. I don't know. I heard then she was saying on her podcast they have to be careful of not getting involved in a lawsuit. And I was like, oh, okay, I got it. But I mean, if this is all you're doing, no, we don't want to get involved. We don't want to, give you a voice. As I say, I've been doing this for 20 years, trying to get the press to expose all of that, the problem family court, CPS, everywhere.
Imply some sort of exploded plastic device, it might seem, that pushed the story quite a bit further forwards, I would say. Yeah. That was a big day. That was a very big day.
On Thursday, I made the decision to have Mitch on my show. And the reason why we made that decision is because we were then working in the background to verify other aspects of his story, and we were able to do that. I now felt beyond confident. He had sent me all of his metadata. He had sent me, as you guys already saw, his ID cards, his former passports, his new passports. He even sent me, now I can't say that this Mexican person was in the cartel, but his story was that he was being hunted by the cartel. He certainly had court documents documenting that a Spanish person had broken into his home and whatever had happened.
Gary even said, I can't remember, this would be a good opportunity to test Ian's app. Gary was even indicated at one point, I can't remember exactly what he said, but this is another thing. They don't want, the government and Gary's friends don't want what was going on with the drug cartels in the 80s, and that, I mean, Gary even says, oh, this is ridiculous. We never did this. Mitch, since he was the youngest and lowest in the totem pole, he had to go and burn all the cocaine that they were collecting. And I was like, and he was like, we don't do things that way. I was like, oh, come on. You guys are involved in all the trafficking of the drugs. And this is also, I think, what they're so afraid of. It's not just the meeting with the Charlie Kirk, but it is Mitch's story of his involvement with the cartels and all of the secret ops of the U.S. government in the 70s, 80s, 90s. Both sides are there.
So I believed him. I believed his story. I knew that he was a Green Beret. Like I told you, I verified that information right away. And I knew that he had stumbled upon this meeting, and he thought this is why they were pulling him aside. They may have thought something else, but it was substantially true. Everything he said was substantially true.
And substantially, I would like to, hopefully this will get it to pull up in this window. I would substantially like to pull up this episode with the car stuff, because I figured I would just ask Webb. I'd be like, hey, what day did Candace reveal photos about the inside of Charlie Kirk's car and black things on the floor? Oh, Candace revealed photos from inside of Charlie Kirk's car on December 17th, 2025 in her episode titled Breaking News, received photos of Charlie's car after the assassination. Click. And here it is.
That's pretty cool.
And I could search and I could be like photo, and I could, go down, and it's probably in this clip, I would guess.
I find that to be very strange. I have
literally right here.
And about this up, letting advise think you guys know that we're not making up that we have these photos.
Literally right there. Boom. Just like that, dog.
We do. We have these photos
just
and
like
they
that.
Tell a story. And I think it's important.
And you can do it in real language. I was like, hey, Candace said she had photos on one day. What day was that? What episode was that? Wasn't Candace talking about this other thing at some point? And it's like, yeah, he or she talked about that thing, and be like, okay, but what was that one name? It's crazy, dude.
Yeah.
You don't have to have an exact quote. You don't have to know the day. You don't have to know the episode. You don't even have to know who talked about it. You can just say one of these podcasters talked about this thing, and I forget who it was. And it'll be like, well, all these people talked about it. It's crazy town.
Whether or not he saw Brian Harpole, I don't really know, right? Now, of course, the decision to have him on, I was aware that I could not say to him, I felt that would have been super inauthentic if I was like, hey, tell your story, but like, let's not talk about the fact that you think 100% that you saw Erica. Like, that would have just been inauthentic, and I feel like people know that, I don't know, you guys would have just like sussed that out in 4 seconds.
I don't think she's wrong about that. No. I think she's right.
Yep.
I think she's right. And you can argue about whether it was right or not to have Mitch on. I'm glad she did, because it pushed something further forwards. Whether it pushed a psyop further forwards, or whether it pushed a scammer further forwards, or whether it pushed real legitimate information further forwards. It pushed someone who was at Fort Huachuca that day further forwards. And maybe it's nothing. Maybe Candace is distracted in the mud right now. I don't fucking know. But it's not like I'm not being distracted. Like, I'm doing my thing, and she's doing her thing. And that's fine. I'm still digging into what I'm digging into. No big deal.
So I understood, obviously, that we were opening a can of worms because people were going to be compelled, obviously, by the fact that potentially Erica Kirk was on the base the evening before, if you will, on September 8th. But again, my main thing was Brian Harpole. During that time, as we were vetting his story, he described the congressman. He thought he was pretty certain that it was a congressman of some description. And he described him what he looked like, glasses, about the age, and he said the height was 5'9".
So from here, if you can't tell, we're getting into Mitch. We're getting into Mitch territory, ladies and gentlemen. So now, throughout these little series of clips, I think I got 4 of them here. Why does it show 3? Should have 4. Oh, no, it is 3. So Candace is just talking about she doesn't care about his past. She's confirming more about Mitch. Then also talking about, and I don't know about this. This is not something, I mean, you're here, right? But I don't know if you've heard this from anybody who's been making videos about Mitch, but now I'm hearing Candace say that he has 0 convictions. So that's weird. I guess it's a lot of he said.
It's a little murky exactly what Mitch is convicted of. I'm pretty sure that.
Oh, and I included that. I think it was in I have it in this slides. In the last slides, it was he was arrested. There were 3 charges. He was only convicted for what did they call that? Let's see. Here, we'll see it right here. Gross misdemeanor, malicious mischief. So that was apparently for taking the hammer and we'll see whether taking the hammer and hitting her car. And for that, he received 364 days jail, SUS 360 D. So I'm not sure exactly what that is. And fined $350. That was in 2017. And this date of arrest, oh, deposition date. Okay, so date of arrest was 2016. And yeah, he did spend some time in prison. But then there's also, so if that was 16, then this raises the question, because my understanding was he was arrested again, and this is the reason that he can't see his son, is that he cannot see his son unless he admits to the charges against him, because they know this will be the only way that he can see his son, and that's what they're holding over him, and that's how they've manipulated this whole thing. I mean, of course, these guys, that's crazy. Yes, that's what's happening. You guys, all of this, who killed Charlie Kirk? Who killed Charlie Kirk? I want to find out who killed Charlie Kirk. I mean, just as I want justice for everybody.
Valhalla has evidence of convictions, but I forget. I'll look it up. I'm pretty sure I've got that episode queued in here. I'll look it up. And I'll see.
She said. Now, I haven't watched Valhalla's breakdown. I definitely haven't watched any of Gary's breakdowns. I haven't seen any of the breakdowns in terms of Mitch's past. So this is news to me, and it's actually surprising because from what I've heard about him in conversations,
I'll look it up.
I would think there would be some convictions. But I guess
what I've heard about him in conversations, I would think there would be some convictions, he just said. Obviously, I mean, there are like rumors going all over the place between these guys. And I even warned Jesse Merle. That was the Christmas Eve. I was there. Be careful what you all are saying, because I'm going to come after you on defamation. I mean, of course, I have to get Mitch on my side because he's the one who has had the tort against him. But I'm watching.
I guess there would also be jail time if there was, and I haven't heard about any jail time either. So all very odd. But let's jump into this first clip about Mitch. Let's jump in.
Say that. So he seems like he's being intentionally dishonest about stuff. She kind of just made one statement. Timing was a bit weird. Yeah, that's kind of how that happened.
Interesting. Okay, and then
just want to say she's talking about those two creators that I brought up. One is named Evan, one is named Morgan, and they both made a very odd statement. You know when somebody says, and I hear it a lot, especially in the content space, this is not an airport. You don't have to announce that you're leaving, that type of thing. Well, they had to announce that they were leaving. And it seems so weird because if you didn't support Candace looking into Mitch or having Mitch on the show, you could just quietly stop talking about it. But they made it a point, and they did it very similarly, whatever, you know what I mean. They did it the exact same way. One's talking about the Holy Spirit. The other one's just like, I can't do this, my heart. And, people are going to hate me. I'm sorry. That type of thing. And it turns out they're actually good.
So in the episode that Nate did, that Valhalla VFT did about Mitch Snow, the word conviction does not appear. The word convict does not appear. The word convicted does not appear. Okay.
Arrested? Yeah. I mean,
all right.
That's
I think my timestamps are broken on this.
Hope everybody's ready.
Arrest somebody. See, this is Patriot Dad. He supports all of these manipulations, as does Gary Melton. That's why when I saw the interview with Patriot Dad, then I started my investigation into Patriot Dad. This will all get in my report card that I'll be doing at the end of this. Oh gosh, with all of the things that are getting in here. I'm at 30. We're going to be looking at the report card coming at maybe a 40 episode because things are getting convoluted. So anyway, yeah.
For 1-1 tonight.
I think my timestamps are broken. Here, this one's got a timestamp.
Tonight, I'm fighting off bronchitis right now. Wild. It's all the same video. We're obviously going to go through Mitch Snow. We're going to expose a bunch of his lies through his military career, his stories, and as well.
We're going to expose his lies. I mean, everything else is alleged. When it comes to Mitch Snow, oh no.
As his horrific 30-year background with domestic violence, punching women in the face, kidnapping children, all verified through court documents and him admitting to, by the way.
Okay.
We'll get into all that.
This is really, I mean, please, Mitch, contact me and we'll discuss.
A lot of...
So I watched the episode through, but I didn't remember if he said that Mitch was convicted of any crimes. And in that script, he doesn't say the word conviction or convicted.
No.
I'd have to do a little more searching to kind of verify that. A little more asking for quotes about what he said exactly. But that's interesting. I kind of assumed that he had claimed that, but I don't know.
Good friends. And it turns out they were talking about releasing these statements. And it turns out they're both, I think they admitted, according to a journalist, that they both are getting paid by the same company. Now, they say they're not getting paid to make any anti-Mitch content.
I'm looking that up, chat.
It all just seems so odd. And Candace is being very nice to the one who's named Morgan, the lady. Evan, on the other hand, he's done a full switch. Just like Balix, just like Tatum, he's just done this full switch. It's wild to see. But she's being very nice to Morgan. I don't think she should be. I really don't. I think...
my sighting is breaking.
I think it looks exactly... I think it is exactly what it looks like. When you see people, I always say, when you see people speaking in unison, okay, you have to be wary. And then all of a sudden you see these two people speaking in unison. They actually have each other's numbers. They actually talk to each other all the time. They release the same type of statement.
We're not going to get into the drama between these influencer kits. We don't really need it. I'm going to run another search here. I think
it's not drama. It's standards and ethics. And, you know, y'all are not setting a very good example for these kids.
I think I might have fixed my citation breaking issue. We'll find out in a second.
Lively, then I did want to... I guess I didn't write in and be like, I really want to hear more about Blake Lively and Justin Baldoni, actually. I don't understand why you can't go. No. Right? You don't get that choice. I don't know. It's just very weird. And now it seems like she has a person who's in there who clearly has an agenda and is trying to move the 150,000 people who are currently watching that thing. Anyway, let's keep going.
Yeah, and so I think what I would offer back is that's what we have been doing. So rather than speaking to his
150,000 people, like it's all been. I was watching about it was Mallory on Family Ties. Family Ties, this big TV series. It was it 50 or 55 million people would tune in. See, when you just had the 3 TV stations, I mean, 120,000 viewers, it would be shut down the next day.
Son, I contacted people on the base, like, okay, he said that somebody named Neff, which is what he said initially in contacting me, Captain Neff was the one who questioned him. So rather than speaking to his son from 22 years ago, I think the people would say, why don't you speak to somebody who's on Fort Huachuca base now and see if there's a Captain Neff there? And that's what we did. And we confirmed that Captain Neff and the 10th Brigade was there.
That is what you do when you need to verify a story, is you look for names, dates, places, concrete facts within the story, and then you start hunting those specific truths down, especially ones that would be hard to know if you didn't have information, if you hadn't been there, if you hadn't seen something, if you hadn't had knowledge of that fact, because facts are really easy to get wrong. There's a million different names that are wrong for commanders on that base. There's only one name. There's maybe like 20 names, 100 names that would be right. So
precisely, somebody laughed and was like, "Oh, Neff, like the Neff on oh, you're making a conspiracy because it's the same name as what's the guy Neff in TPUSA. No, it's a coincidence. I mean, Neff is not like Smith, but it's not, super odd.
When you verify a name or a place or something like that, that helps.
He said it was in an offsite building, a JTF offsite building. We spoke to people at the base and they told us this is the exact building. Here's where it is in the map. And they are borrowing the space. He told us that this incident happened and the bomb dogs were called. So I made an effort and successfully got the police report. That's how we verify whether or not he's a pathological liar, is by verifying what he said. Right. And so that's why, as I said before you jumped on, I reached out to the people that were involved. I reached out to Brian Harpole 3 times. He wanted to give an alibi in the sense of like giving flights for 3:42 that afternoon. Okay, so what's stopping you from giving us what you're doing at 7:30 a.m., right? Like that kind of is what's weird. It's like you give half an alibi that doesn't matter, but you don't want to give the full thing. You don't want to just message me and say, hey, just so you know, that wasn't me.
Yeah. It's a little weird. A little weird.
That is coming up under Mr. Snow's records for some reason.
Open over
so I don't know if that's in alias or Mr. charge of some kind, but then several others started in 2023 that were granted. And what looks like one of the highest conflict divorce files I've ever seen that started in 2017. It might still be going on. It is.
One of the
on criminal records, all I see is a felony charge of some kind that was
one of the highest conflict divorces he's ever seen. In his conversation with Mitch, he was like, oh, yeah, I've gone through a divorce. I've gone through what you've gone through. And Mitch was like, a divorce of 10 years? Kind of being a little sarcastic. And he was like, no, divorce. So this whole thing, most convoluted divorce he's ever seen. First, how many divorces has he seen? How much research has he done in it? Tell him to contact me, because, oh, Lord, this is par for the course, buddy. Par for the course.
Was dismissed in 2023 in a felony conviction for second-degree theft in the name of Ronnie Jean Waite Jr. That is coming up under Mr. Snow's records for some reason. So I don't know if that's in alias or if Snow was a victim or a witness in the case. And I can tell you right now, I also have additional court records and documents that precede 2013. So, and that's the other part of this is like all of these different court records and documents and things like that are in multiple counties. They're filed in even multiple states. There's a lot of stuff going on here, and it's just really, really difficult to get to the truth.
So yeah, we're not finding conviction,
I'm not sure.
But maybe I'm not looking hard enough.
So that's what we're actually doing, is trying to verify the last thing, which is just like really his memory. He did tell the truth. He told the truth about everything that happened.
Even if he had been in jail and been convicted, what does that have to do with what he saw at Fort Huachuca?
Morning.
This is really pissing me off because everybody, Virginia Giuffre, everybody should be believed. Everybody should be believed. No matter if they're pathological liars all over the place, we're going to believe them. And then this guy, the double standards here are just horrific. Horrific.
And so the last thing is, does he have a good facial memory? And thus far, we've not been able to, and I am in the process, as I said, of speaking with Turning Point USA.
Putting it on Front Street. She's talking about Ian getting pressured. I don't know.
This is the part we got to comment on.
Was getting kind of.
Was like, we repeated a few times on the show. You either have really good memory when you see faces, or you have a bad memory like I do when I see faces. I don't know Mitch, so I don't know, but he was pretty detail oriented.
And she was very clear about that in her first episode with him too. She was very clear about the fact that she can't corroborate his memory of who he saw. That was not ambiguous when she said it.
Well, in any investigation, trial, whatever, that's going to be the same with the witness. I mean,
oriented about the watch and little things. And I think beyond anything else, the reaction when Andrew Colvett is wheeling and dealing behind the scenes, it then makes things really compelling, right? If he didn't get caught on that live, I probably would be neutral. I mean, I did one episode on this. Everybody's acting like I've done like Becoming Brigitte. You know what I mean? Like, we've been investigating the Charlie thing. We've covered so many things. I do one episode on Mitch, and everyone's like, "No, like we gotta talk to his high school classmates. We gotta talk." It's like, dude, like, like everybody calm down. I'm getting threats of lawsuits in the background. So, like, Ian was like, you know, I gotta talk to you before your next episode, is what his text was, because they were putting pressure on him to get me to stop reporting on this. They didn't want me to even interview Mitch.
I mean, why all of this pressure? It's like, what's going on?
So I just find that to be compelling. Like, what is this panic about? Especially,
I think here's where two conversations get conflated. I have to see what Coach Collins says.
When she says, now this is what Candace says, and Ian is kind of silent about this, but she is just
I've been avoiding the story.
Front Street. She's talking about Ian getting pressured. I don't know if he was getting pressured or maybe he just felt pressured, but the people she's talking about is Gary and Valhalla apparently.
So two different conversations are getting mixed together here. Before Valhalla did his episode, he reached out through many channels to try to see if Candace wanted to talk to him about it and sort of like, you know, look at that evidence. And
instead of checking out the evidence and checking out the story, no, everybody's putting on pressure on Candace Owens. Cease and desist. I mean, Alex Jones even threatened her. That video was taken down.
She was just kind of like, put it out. Put it out. I wasn't really feeling pressured at any time here. There was another conversation earlier about the Brian Harple flights and a potential lawsuit, which is a separate conversation, whole different thing. That
Well, him saying he doesn't feel any pressure is not true, because he's been saying the whole time of like, wait a second, you know, I'm not the secretary of Candace.
might be what she's referring to there. I don't know. I don't think so. But Nate's a nice guy. Nate wasn't like being an asshole to me or anything like that.
Apparently, but you know, this is why I say Valhalla,
Nate was just.
I mean, how do we know Nate's a nice guy? Maybe he's a vicious wife beater as well, and that's why he's going to side. Because see, the abuser. This is where we'll go cross gender. And what people are not understanding. Oh, they think, oh, men are going to side with men and women are going to side with women. No, the abusers will side with each other and gang up on the victims. And that's why Gary, this is him going so full throttle after Mitch is just, you know, a warning bell that he is an abusive personality. Now that's confirmed with how we see he conducts his podcast. But see, the thing is, this is also a pam pom moment instead of just a ding ding ding, because we have horrific problems of the military being involved in the trafficking, human trafficking, women, children, and men. So we know there's a huge collusion there and a problem of that, and sex trafficking, in fact, that we saw with Erica Kirk in Romania. So, and the thing is, whatever the person, the dynamics, the groups, the individuals involved, they always go after somebody who is vulnerable, who is defenseless. I mean, you certainly, you want to rape somebody or hurt somebody, then you are going to go after an easy mark. You're not going to go after somebody who can defend themselves. And who are the most defenseless? Children. So Gary is not just what Gary is doing here to try and, you know, we got to go after Mitch. He's lying, and we got to protect the military operations, the involvement of the American government and the military in the 80s, 70s, 80s, and 90s in the drug trafficking. And I mean, that goes on until today. They're still doing it. You know, this goes in, plus he's going to double down because he's having a good time helping another abuser abuse their victim. So I'd love to get Gary Melton's wife in a conversation and find out with his children.
Nate was just reaching out to me later when he was going to do this expose of being like, hey, does Candace want to see this right now? Like, does Candace want to like turn on this all? And it was like, dude, whatever, dude, just put your shit out, man. Just put your shit out. And I was worried that Nate was going to get way out over his skis and like totally just like go in on Candace a whole bunch and sort of just like go beyond the evidence that he had. But I actually was really pleased with how Nate did his episode, in that Nate stuck to the documents that he had and his perspective on them and what he believed based on those documents. And I don't necessarily share Nate's perspective on the documentation of the whole thing now that we're seeing more. But I'm glad that Nate reported it the way he did, and I liked how he reported it. And I like exhaled a big sigh of relief for him of like, well done, man. That was a solid way to do it.
I didn't
he got
like
a lot
how
of shit for it. I don't agree with the shit for it. That's fine though. No, you know, whatever.
You're gonna get shit
make
from
up your own
me.
opinions of people. It's all good.
Nope, not all good here.
Have to make another episode just so he can be like, no, I didn't pressure Ian. I wanted to warn Candace, which is, I think
Nate is Valhalla.
I think that's going to be what he has to say about that. But again, Valhalla's like, this is going to be one and done. I'm not making another episode about.
And as for the stolen valor, my understanding, not being military, is that stolen valor includes lying about your service, not just saying you were in when you weren't. And Mitch was a Green Beret, as we've learned. I'm not entirely clear. I guess maybe he lied about what he was in the service, but I don't really trust any of this reporting about it. I'm very, very reticent to like fall into thinking I know this or I don't know this about any of this story here. Pro Candace, anti Candace, pro Mitch, anti Mitch, whatever. I'm just kind of taking it all in. But Nate has a history of exposing stolen valor. That's kind of how he built his channel. So that's kind of his thing. So I'm not going to try to like claim that I know more about stolen valor than Nate. So,
okay.
You know.
But wait a second. Mitch, there's still this DH something or other form that apparently is like only Mitch, or if he's deceased, somebody in his family could ask for this information. And this is going to confirm everything that Mitch is saying. Now, why? I mean, the vets, what kind of solidarity is this? We don't believe you until we see this form. And we're going to, destroy you. It's disgusting. Really disgusting coming from the vet. Valhalla should be ashamed of himself. Gary should be ashamed of himself. All of the military people here should be ashamed of themselves.
I don't know, man. I think you're going to have to make a few. You're going to have to make a few, which is, it's all good. It's all
I
good,
love Colin's take on
Anyway, let's just jump into the next clip about Mitch right here.
Every trail should be exhausted before we say,
it does seem like Mitch might have lied about how he got hurt. That's possible.
No, he got hurt various.
And I have seen far more energy put into discrediting this Fort Huachuca witness than I have for people actually looking into the claim itself.
This is diligent.
Like Candace said earlier, she actually called people at the base to verify whether or not the events occurred. Was he there at that time? Where did it happen at? Etc. But I see all of these people. It's almost like it's coordinated.
I like Diligent a lot. He's a cool guy. I've met him before. I actually met him at Turning Point because we were both like, we don't belong here. we were at Amfest last year, and we knew each other from X. And I met him for the first time in person, and we were both kind of like, this place is weird, man. Let's hang out over here. This place is fucking weird. He's a cool dude.
Yeah. Right? All of these people on the same 2 days come out and say, oh, don't listen to this guy. They apply labels. Do you know why we apply labels to people? That way you stop listening to them. Oh, what he says doesn't matter anymore because he's an abuser, because he's a fraud, because he's this, because he's that.
Yeah.
Right? Far more effort into discrediting that witness than there has actually been into validating the information that he's been given.
By the way, the best way to discredit him is to debunk his story. So I'm like, why don't you focus on this? You can act. Do you hate Mitch? Do you hate who he is as a human being? Do you believe he's a pathological liar? How about proving that something that he told us was a pathological lie? Like, doesn't that just make sense?
Yeah.
Zero convictions. All of the people saying that he was a fraudster, that he was an abuser, whatever. I couldn't find one.
It's probably a lot like Adult Film Awards. I've never been to the Adult Film Awards, but let's just say that at AmFest every year, James O'Keefe likes to throw a DJ party, and James O'Keefe likes to DJ, and he likes to dress up and do his thing. And it was a cool party. I mean, it was whatever. It was better than some parties I've been to in this industry. And it was just full of weird political, just a lot of like ladder climbers get attracted to the light like a moth at a TPUSA style event. A lot of drama behind the scenes that I don't give a shit about. A lot of, oh, do you want to meet this person or meet this person? It's like, no, not really. Like, I don't care. Like, whatever, dude. It's like I'm hanging out with my homies. Like, I'm just meeting homies. Whatever. It's just weird. I should have made a Grindr account and logged into Grindr and seen who was on Grindr. next year.
Yeah, one criminal record of him being convicted.
Yeah.
Is that true?
Yeah, I couldn't find it either. They were showing no convictions. It was he said, she said. I mean, just like full character assassination. And
a one-sided divorce court that he didn't get to tell his piece in.
It was very Me Too. It was very Me Too. I'm sorry to say it. And like when grown men are doing the Me Too shit, I just have no energy for it. I'm just like, all right, guys, like cool, thumbs up. Like I'm glad.
I mean, O'Keefe is a good example of someone who like.
Yeah, this was very Me Too. If you don't stop anybody who is not working to expose these they are vampires. These are witches. They're evil people who have infiltrated everywhere. This whole Me Too stuff it's got to be dismantled.
I don't know him well as a person. I like his reporting. He's done some incredible journalism. He's done some crazy stories. He does this crazy style of gonzo journalism. But like, I don't necessarily like F with what he likes to do as a, like the way he parties and just like, is as a like media figure. It's not my style. And that's fine. Not my job to like, be the same type of person as everybody. And so I can just separate the person from the reporting and just look at the reporting for what it is. You don't have to, and James has always been a nice dude to me. I have no problem with James O'Keefe. So it's like, all good, dog. Who cares? There's a lot of characters out in this world that have a lot of personality. And James O'Keefe has a ton of personality. And so it's like, whatever, man. Just don't commit crimes and don't hurt innocent people and don't be a piece of shit. Right?
Had you found like his classmates in middle school or whatever?
I just realized I can speed this up. Oh, this is a good thing. Because I'm taking a long time with these things.
But like, could you use some of that male energy towards action?
Ian, you are so logical. How? It's really simple. Just deal with your own shit and your own baggage and master your own emotions. And then you won't get offended at bullshit. You won't have a thin skin. You won't get emotional and hot-headed. You won't take things personally. You won't get into stupid shouting matches over things that don't matter. You won't die on hills when you're wrong. You'll have the humility to be like, man, I don't know. I don't know everything. It's not complicated. Just deal with your own shit. And don't be a bitch.
Don't be a bitch.
It's crazy.
Yep.
But there are a lot of men and a lot of women in this world and in this industry because the world doesn't cater to, the world doesn't teach people to deal with their own shit. It actually thrives off of people that have not dealt with their shit so they can sell them solutions. So deal with your shit. That would be a good shirt. Yes, it would.
Actually, like if you think he's all of these things, the best thing to do would be like help us prove that he's lying on the thing that we care about, which is the Charlie Kirk assassination, and no one has thus far done that. And he has not changed his story. So I am inclined to follow this, especially because we now know that Erica and Andrew Colvett and Brian Harpole do care enough to offer up, some parsed alibis.
The common knowledge of most people who are following the case, it becomes way harder to refute. It's much harder for people to refute something that's already in their head.
Yeah, he put some good commentary on how the information space can be fed laundered information.
Super nice to him, and they're saying, or one of them said, and I don't want to names. And okay, so we have him on, obviously, and he says both of the names, and what happened thereafter is what I can only describe as like an explosion. I get contacted from somebody who's in DC, and they were very concerned and thought maybe somebody was feeding me bad information, and I was kind of interested in the phone call. Not going to name the person, but was basically like, worried about your security and things like that. And I was like, I think we're good. Like, we're kind of vetting the story. Yeah. Then on the 20th, and this is very interesting, these two YouTubers, Valhalla and Paramount Tactical, reached out to Mitch, and they're being super nice to him, and they're saying,
so I don't know this for sure, but I believe that she's confusing voices, or that Mitch confused who was who or something. I don't know. I don't think that Valhalla reached out to Mitch. I believe I know that Paramount did. I think we'll get that evidence in the future here, and I think that Valhalla will probably comment on this part. I don't know. But I think that I have reason to believe that Paramount did, and I don't know about the Valhalla part of this. So he'll clarify.
Or one of them said, and I don't want to mix them up, but we have the video of it because Mitch is predisposed to paranoia, and he recorded them. And I'm going to drop the conversations. I'd
be very curious to see these. I want these.
They're so nice to him. This is on December 20th, and they're not questioning whether or not he was in special forces. They're not saying anything weird. And
I do remember Paramount Tactical being searched from Tel Aviv in June or July. Actually, I have that on my chart.
Actually saying to him that I may be under foreign influence.
Nate is actually on right now saying he never spoke to Mitch. No shit, huh? No shit. Like literally right now.
The Israel Prize.
It's such a fitting thing, and it would honor us, obviously, Mr. President, if you could visit Israel.
Again, it's probably the start of the show.
From other people on Twitter, a lot of people attacking me on Twitter. I don't have Twitter, but people send me these things. So this has got most of it here. Sarah Lyons, Jeff Ray, no idea who this can't episode with Mitch. And then we'll get to the second part here and address that. Ian's going to address this one as well, but let's address the first part here. Supposedly, that I had a phone call with Mitch Snow.
Nailed it. You don't even need Web to put that.
I divulged into Mitch Snow that I think Candace is a foreign asset and all these things. Very, very bizarre. Here's the reality, guys. And I'm glad the phone call got recorded.
I think that Paramount is the one that said that. I believe that's my guess.
I've never spoken to Mitch Snow. Not on the phone, not via text, not via email, not Snapchat, not Instagram.
See, when you actually didn't do something, you just come out and say you didn't do it. It's simple. This is when someone alleges that you did something that you didn't do. You can just do this. And I believe it's confusion because I have reason to believe that the phone call doesn't show faces, that it has audio. And I think we'll see it probably. I'm hoping that we'll see it or hear it at least. So I think the confusion is probably understandable, but we'll see.
I had Twitter, not Twitter. I have literally never spoken to Mitch Snow. So the idea that I was talking shit about Candace Owens and calling her a federal agent to Mitch Snow, wrong guy. Okay? Different Green Beret. Okay? So Gary from Paramount Tactical talked to Mitch, and he's been very open about that. He talked about it on the show. Once I
it's not hard to deny something that you didn't do.
Found out more about Mitch, who this guy was, I didn't want anything to do with him. I didn't want to give him a minute of my time. I didn't want to platform him, and I told you guys that. He never reached out to me.
When he found out who he was, he didn't know who he was. I mean, he hasn't. I want to know what Nate Valhalla has done to investigate this.
We're in contact. Well, no, here's the thing. She did. She said Valhalla or Gary, and then she said they did this, they did this, they did this. And so that's why.
Fair criticism. Fair criticism. This is one of the issues with going live and reporting on the fly, and kind of like this constant media feed does make it hard to be really precise all the time. It makes it easy to make little mistakes like that are shitty. And we all have to have a little grace for each other. At least I try to have a little grace for people. I don't take things too seriously. And if someone makes a mistake about me, I'm not too stressed. But I understand how other people would take it otherwise too. But that's cool. Right on. Nate's live right now, and there's the scoop from Nate.
I'm like, okay, these guys are clearly not good guys.
This has to be Gary. This doesn't sound like Valhalla to me. And I could be 100% wrong. But you're calling and you're basically playing the whole she's foreign influence. Like, hey, brother, come on, this is foreign influence.
People are doxing people. Hey, listen, the only thing I'll say about doxing is that I tend to suspect that people that are doxing people are never from the actual authentic narratives that they are supposed to represent. I would bet you money that anyone that might be doxing Nate because he's insulting Candace, I bet those aren't actually Candace fans. I would bet that behavior is almost always planted from all sides as a COINTELPRO style operation to make everyone mad at everyone and to make everyone feel unsafe and to make everyone turn on each other. This is COINTELPRO 101. Okay, and I think that all journalists today, all media personalities especially, but also regular people, like people that are just living their regular lives, everyone needs to remember and consider that the internet space, the information space, is full of disinformation agents that work in subtle and mysterious ways to stoke complex disagreements, emotions, uncertainties, doubts, so that everyone splits up and everyone fights each other. And remember that what you think is a Candace fan,
that's precisely what it's and I mean, this is where the government has to say, no, excuse me, the lines of communications, this comes under the SEC, the Department of Communications, I forget what it's called.
Might just be a bot from her enemies there to fuck with you. Or it might be a bot from some other media campaign there to fuck with you. Or it might be a bot from a corporation there to subtly get you to want to buy something. I don't fucking know. But just remember, if it's not a human on video explicitly saying something into a camera, don't assume it's a person. Okay? This is 2025. And this is unfortunately just the basic nature of the information space today, which is full of psyops in complex ways. It's not hard to flood the zone with whatever it is you want, including false opposition in all sorts of crazy directions. So just a reminder to all commentators and all media personalities, like for example, Harrison Smith was getting attacked a whole bunch, and I can't help but wonder if they were all people or not. Kind of doubt it. I bet that wedge is being driven, conflict being stoked, doubt and discomfort and emotions being inflamed. Right? This is the nature of the game. And we all have to understand it and develop a thick skin and not stress it. Just chill. Just chill. No. Just calm down.
Develop a thick skin and accept it and chill out. No,
I'm not. When you see a person say something about you into a camera, address that. And we'll do that in a second. We're doing that with this, and we'll do that with Alex Jones in just a second.
You can't be trusting her. Listen, it has to be Gary. But I don't know, man. And the thing about it is, Candace is going to drop that recording soon. I think it's gonna be Gary though. I'm 90% sure it's gonna be Gary.
Actually, the 20th is when he first told me that they had reached out to him and wanted him on his podcast. It might have been the 21st that they called him. I'll clear that up. But between the 20th and the 22nd is when they are suddenly calling him and they're like, oh, like, we're just concerned about Candace. Okay, yeah, and you're gonna see in a couple of days he loses his mind and suddenly speaking to like exes and baby mamas like he's Jerry Springer. But that was the nature of their phone calls. So I'm like, okay, that's weird. I don't know these guys. And then on the 22nd, I get another phone call from Ian Carroll. He's here in Adrian, as a speaker. I get another phone call from Ian Carroll, and this idea is like totally freaked as and like very concerned because obviously like I have a relationship with Ian Carroll and to some degree he respects Valhalla.
Yeah, she's exaggerating a little, but I was concerned for her. Just in like, I want to make sure, Candace, that your wits are about you and that you're not emotional about this and that you're thinking it all through. And we talked for a while, and by the end of it, I was like, I see your point of view, and you know this better than me, and I'm going to respect your take 100%. And I'm going to learn from whatever you do and however it falls out, and whatever, I got you. That's cool. I'm just here to deliver a message for you because I think you want to know this, and you do with what you want. And as soon as I got off the phone, I was like, well, Candace is doing Candace stuff, and that's fine. That's how she be. Whatever. I ain't stressed about it, dude. It's all good because you don't take it personally, and you stay independent, and you do your own thing. And if someone makes a mistake, whatever, we all learn from it, right?
And he's like, look, I have this friend in the military. He has a YouTube channel, and he basically runs me through it. He's like basically saying that he wants to talk to me. And it was kind of said to me in a way that was like, if you don't kind of take this rope, like jump off of this Mitch train, like what's going to come out about Mitch is going to be explosive, and you're going to like go down on the ship. That's essentially the vibe.
That was kind of how it was portrayed. That's how Nate portrayed his episode. And I don't think that's what's happening at all, obviously. I don't think Candace's ship sinks, even if you do like prove that she's wrong about something.
That Valhalla was giving to Ian Carroll and basically like kind of demanding to get on the phone with me. And I was like, and then he started talking about first he said stolen valor. Like he was like, he was never a Green Beret. Like he absolutely was a Green Beret. I sent out the chain of the government. Like that's just not true. And it felt to me like they were clearly being quite aggressive with Ian on the phone, demanding to speak to me, demanding I allowed him on my platform, talking about
Nate wasn't being aggressive with me. He was being emotionally heated because he was really pissed at Mitch because he had just been doing all this research. Which is understandable. But it did come across in a way. I understand how she's interpreting that way. That's fine.
I was like, I don't care about any of this. And I said to Ian, this seems to me like they're trying to distract me with stupid stuff. Like if he has something that's concrete that like Mitch somehow defrauded me or lied and did like definitively was not a Green Beret, then please just have him email it to me. And I said, and if he emails that to me, I will deal with it immediately. And I also made it clear to Ian that because they were like, oh, then like she could get in trouble for fraud because she raised money for this guy. He wasn't even a Green Beret. I was like, first off, he never asked me to raise money for him. So the idea that he was doing this to fraud me for money, that came out naturally when I was live. I said I was doing it because I said people were going to start thinking up things. Like I just had a feeling like I thought it would be other people, but I just felt like, oh, let's raise money for him. He had stuff like whatever. And I had that court paperwork of what he was going through. So that was natural. And not only that, but the very next day, which I will show on my show this week, Mitch sent me an email the day after I started to give Sendo, the morning after, he sent me a Skyler email and said, thank you so much for raising money, but I do not want to accept this money from you. And he was
So let's really quickly lay out the timeline of Mitch Snow here for a second, at least as far as I'm aware of it.
Okay.
Mitch Snow was in Fort Huachuca months ago. So he had this storied life, believe what you want of it, discredit what you want of it. Maybe he's a woman abuser. Maybe he's just gets in relationships with crazy bitches that are fucking mean and accuse people to take their shit. Maybe it's a mixture of both. I don't know. Think what you want of his past. He has that.
The crazy bitches, we've got an epidemic of it. Okay, we got epidemic of crazy bitches and epidemic of pedophiles, rapists, serial killers, all of it.
Past. And then he winds up on Fort Huachuca on the day he said he was there. And he has copious digital forensic evidence that he has provided to Candace, far more than anyone else realizes, I think, that he was there on that day. That was before Charlie was killed. That was before Candace was talking about any of this. That was before any of the story had happened. That evidence already existed. So if this is a scam, it's a scam built on top of that coincidence. And it's not just like he was randomly at any fort on any given day. He was at this fort on a day when there just so happened to be these weird SAM 000 flights happening too. So it's a significant day on a special kind of a base that's kind of a weird situation where his story comes out to seem like it's something crazy happened there. And then later we discover, like months and months and months later, when this all comes to the top, we discover that there were these crazy SAM 000 flights. So there's like all these weird coincidences that all happened way back then, before Charlie was killed. So if it is a scam to try to trick Candace, to me it starts to seem like it's a scam that was devised by the plotters themselves, because the scam involves a random person being on a random military base with a SAM 000 flight with a story that actually does check out to that degree. So it's like, that's not a coincidence. That would have to be like kind of knowingly planted because it would be juicy, right? Like that would be a hell of a coincidence. And then Candace just happens to see his email when it comes in, when his friend emails her, and she chooses to respond to that email out of all of them. And then she chooses to go into a story more, and go into it more, and go into it more, and go into it more. And then she's the one that chooses to offer this gift and go thing on the fly because she knows how these legal things go, and that's her choice. And I don't know if she's going to wind up giving him money or not. But it's just like, it's a weird thing for it to be a scam, because it would be a very planned out scam that relied on an assassination happening, which Mitch Snow wouldn't have known was going to happen. Right? Because if Mitch Snow had known that Charlie Kirk...
everybody, so leave it there. But everybody's like, oh, no, there's no way that they would have been a collusion. Less people involved in any kind of conspiracy is better. So you don't want too many people. I mean, the theory, if you will, that Valhalla and Gary Melton and things are presenting here, because this would have to be some, like counter spy who knows about what's going on, and he got there, and this was to snag Candace, and it's like, you guys working with a crystal ball, or what you got on there? So it just makes no sense whatsoever. But see, this nobody's supposed to ask anything about. Oh no, but then when Mitch, no, we're gonna go and give a colonoscopy of the poor guy. Yeah, oh gosh, we've gotten 3 hours. So anyway, I found this new function that I can speed it up. So that'll help get through some of these slides, some of these videos that I want to get through. And I'm going to leave it there today. Well, maybe I'll come back. I'm going to take a break. I need to get something to eat. Yeah, because we haven't gotten into any of this. As I say, beware legal liabilities in propagating the accusations that Mitch Snow is an evil, women-beating piece of shit, to quote Ian Carroll. But he's not the only one who said stuff like that. So there, my little slides to go with that. We didn't even get to, well, this just goes, this is, I wanted to bring this up because this is a slide that I started in the Deep State 2 to explain to everybody the damage that the feminist movement has done to society and our political institutions and even our commercial institutions. And this is when I first came across, well, no, that's a lie, because I did see Candace Owens coming up when the Black Lives Matter stuff came out, but I was like, oh, she's a young narcissistic journalist coming out, going to be a celebrity. As she said, she could have been, and to her credit, she did call out Black Lives Matter for all the corruption that was going on in their nonprofit. But yeah, she could have been the Oprah Winfrey. So, and this I hope everybody will look at. But we've seen all of these different things. I keep on saying, you know, I have informed you. If you continue with this dialogue against Mitch Snow, you have been informed that these are lies. And if you want, you can look into his documents. He's giving this DN, whatever it is, to anybody who asks, go ahead. But before you start calling him names and accusing him of being a wife beater or violent or a criminal or a liar, etc., you better do your research. Because this is particularly, Mitch Snow, like me, he's not one of the in crowd. So nobody cares about him. This is not the democracy, the values and principles upon which the United States was founded and which the Constitution was created. And all of these laws, we got RICO that I can come after you after, Foreign Corrupt Practices Act, all of the human rights conventions, and notice of alien what is this thing called? Notice of enemy nationality. So we've got the Enemy Alien Act going on here as well. So I hope this makes it clear for everybody that I know you all think that you're part of the protected group, that, you're up in the how shall I say, the little bubble where everybody's protected and the little people of the world are nothing. And I've been thrown into the little people of the world, and Mitch Snow has been thrown into that arena, as have many other. Well, we're not going to just lie over and roll over and play dead like everybody wants us to. So again, Mitch Snow, I hope you'll contact me. Okay, So have a nice day.